when I was 15, I remember saying that it will be a dream for me to play in mouse and the face, you know. So in a way, it was also a dream come true, you know, to join the organization.
Okay. So the org played a part. Was the bigger part playing with Rops and Finn again?
Oh yes, definitely. That played a part as well. You know, just having them on the team, obviously, but you know, all the other guys in the face. I feel like, you know, Rain, Brokey, Neo as a coach, Roban, you know, being around as well. Like this is all, you know, people like some of the people that I've been look up to at some point in my life. So
best esports odds, VIP program, and a variety of bonuses. Fast and easy withdrawals. Bet on every possible CSGO matching tournament, as well as any other esports game. Only on 22Bet.
Are you tired of your boring old skins? Head to Tradeit and trade them for exciting new ones within seconds. With 24/7 support, massive inventory, free giveaways, and low fees. Tradeit is the highest rated trading platform in the market. What are you waiting for? Start trading today for a $5 bonus, only on Tradeit.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Counter-Strike fans around the globe, welcome back to another episode of HLTV Confirmed. We are powered by Tradeit.gg. If you're in the market for some new skins, check them out. Instant, secure CS2 skin trading. And 22Bet, remember to gamble responsibly. On tonight's show, we'll be wrapping up the RMR action across all regions with the fallout that's come with it, which is including, but not exclusive to, the device in-game leadership, Greyhound shutting down, and the major stage placement. If I see a player call it Legend Stage again, I'm going to fucking pull out what remains of my hair. As always, in the loosest definition of the term always, we've got our regular panel, Prof and Striker, joining me to break down all the news and blues of the Counter-Strike world. And a special guest joining us tonight for his very first time on HLTV Confirmed, FaZe Clan's newest addition, the young veteran of Mao's fame, 21-year-old Slovakian sensation, Frozen. Welcome to HLTV Confirmed.
What's good? Thank you.
I did a really bad intro last week for Kixon, so I've upped my game this week. I thought I need to start doing proper intros. I need to start, you know, really like turning the spotlight on. So hopefully that was better. So Prof, how do you grade me with that intro this week?
9 out of 10.
Wonderful.
Like, great, but there's always some room to go above and beyond and do like exceptional next level shit. So, but we can't really expect that, you know. So great, amazing,
wonderful. All right, I'm happy. I'm happy you're happy. Striker, have you been able to get your sleeping pattern back on track after covering the Asian RMR?
I actually was surprisingly completely okay literally the day that I did it, because I did like 3 hours of sleep into like waking up for the Asian RMR, and I slept another 3 hours and like completely okay. Absolutely zero problems. I was so surprised.
Awesome. All right. Well, Frozen, look, we're going to jump through a whole bunch of stuff tonight. We're going to get your opinions on what's going on in the Counter-Strike world. We're going to put you in the hot seat. We got some quizzes. We got some questions from the people at home. Are you ready to get things underway?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right. Lucas, roll the bumper. All right. Well, this is the point of the show, which is the fun part, where we're going to talk about you and your teams and what's been happening recently. Now, I want to give a bit of a history lesson to maybe some of our uninitiated, which is kind of strange because I think everybody who watches HLTV Confirmed is probably a hardcore Counter-Strike viewer, but maybe we can bring some more fans on board if we, start giving us more information. So I'm going to try my best here. Now, Frozen, I mentioned before, 21. You were at Maus for 5 years. You joined Maus Sports, as they were known back then, early 2019, alongside additions of Woxic and Carrigan to complete the team with Rops and Chris J. Correct. Then the roster had some really had some big success towards the end of 2019. You guys were like the best team in the world, I think, at that point. Or
only on the ESL ranking, I think.
Well, that's the only one that matters, right, Frozen?
ESL ranking? Yeah, I guess.
At the time.
At that time, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you guys going into 2020, you had that like Ice Challenge event where I think Chris J had that ace on train.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah, that kind of screwed us, I would say. No.
That's one way to slow down the success, I would imagine. But from there, right, I'll just give everyone a quick little history lesson. Then the roster started chopping and changing. Carrigan went, obviously Chris J gone, Woxic gone. The team morphed where you had the younger individuals coming to join you from Mao's NXT, which is, you know, why you got the fun nickname of the young veteran. You were the most experienced member of that team for the longest period of time. And then as of more recently, late last year, you made the move across to FaZe. So that's kind of bringing us from your Tier 1 professional debut in Mao's all the way up to current day. So I don't know if we need to start in the beginning. Prof Striker, do we want to ask anything from the beginning?
Say it's crazy that you spent 5 years in Mao's.
Was it 5? Was it
like, almost 5. It's
4
like
now,
it's
okay,
4 and like 9 months or something. And you're 21. It doesn't even make sense. Like, how's this? What kind of labor laws did you break to work since you were like 15 or something?
I guess I've been pretty loyal to teams. I don't think I've been before I swapped that much in like Czechoslovakian scene.
No, you didn't. I mean,
yeah, right. I mean, I swapped orcs, but I didn't swap the players.
Yeah. I always bring up this, like, not always, but like I brought up this story before where like I was at the beginning of your like professional like whatever because
true.
you were like 13 playing with this mix that had like a local mix that had like a girl in it and like 3 complete no-name responsive 13-year-old kid. That was you. You eliminate me from the last line like I played in 1.6 or some or like in CS:GO or some shit. And then the same year you go on to win the Czech championship with like the best team that's in the country. And I'm like, where the fuck did this kid come from?
Yep. Spawned out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's been like the fact that it has been almost 5 years. We'll go with almost 5 years, and you found a lot of success within different iterations of that Mao's roster, right? Like you've had a deep major run. That was Rio. You won a bunch of events, right? You won Pro League Season 18 as the most recent, but then with that 2019 roster that you had, you guys won a bunch. You also won a Pro League season in events, right? That was a big victory. I really enjoyed that. That was a great atmosphere of that event. So you've gone through a lot of different players throughout your time, but you stayed with the organization. And then obviously with the more recent team is probably where I want to focus because the other stuff is a bit more, I don't want to call it ancient history, but it's so far removed. It's pre-pandemic. The more recent stuff, kind of a lot more of the players are still, actually, who's still going from the old roster? Almost everybody besides Chris J. Yeah. All right, well, that's a side note. We can get to that. But let's look at one thing I was interested in, right? Because, yeah, we speak about your experience and stuff, and then you had all these younger kids come and join you within the team, like Torji, obviously, Shui more recently as the in-game leader, Exertion, yeah, JDC. I wanted to kind of quiz you on what the biggest challenges when you had these younger guys, and I say younger, some of them probably older than you, coming and joining the team.
I think, to be real, I think the hardest part was to really accept that that like this is the team I'm gonna go with in a way, you know, because you know, Pin leaving, Robin leaving as well. I mean, it was kind of hard to, you know, lower the standards, I would say, before.
It's a bit of a step back, isn't it?
Yes, exactly, right? Because before, I mean, we would be, as you said before, almost close to number 1. So when this was happening, it kind of felt like a step back, definitely. So in some way, you know, I think this was the hardest part to really accept it and I guess try to move on, you know, don't get really stuck up in it because like I felt like if I'm just gonna, you know, keep whining that, you know, now I'm stuck here or whatever is the case, then like it's just gonna be worse. So I just, you know, try to make the best out of what I had, with the cards I had in my hands. And I mean, it ended up happening that, you know, like all those guys, Dorshi, Exertion, JDC, even Shui at the end, you know, like they were all great. They're all great guys, you know. So I ended up enjoying my time. But obviously, when this thing appeared that like it's gonna happen with this lineup, I was obviously worried. You know, I couldn't really say I was looking forward to what's gonna happen.
Were you looking for a way out, or were you just like, well, this is going to be it? I just guess I have to be the star player and own everybody and just put everybody else on my back? Because that's a really mature response, like that you've had here.
I don't want to say I was looking for a way out, but at that time, I don't think there was really offers on the line, I would say. At least I don't remember any. or any like good ones, you know, that I would consider. So at that time, the mouse felt like the the best option that I was going with. So I just went with my intuition.
Fair enough.
So is that
sorry,
I just
Prof.
wanted to add in there. So is that when you kind of have to accepting your teammates? Is that when you also realize, okay, fuck it, I'm the star player of this team? Because that's I would say when you also, I don't know, stepped up individually, but had like a more consistent, like high level, right? Did you change anything in your approach to the game when the whole rejuvenation and the youth came into Mouse?
I think I would say as I said, I just kind of accepted the fact that like this is the lineup that's gonna be there, and while this was happening, I was just really focusing on myself, and consistency was something that I was struggling before with. I feel like even with when Finn was in a Mouse before. So yeah, I mean, all this time I was just working on my consistency on my game, and yeah, I mean, but as well, all those guys, I don't think I would have played as good as I did without them. I think they also gave me a lot of space. It was required for me to be the star player, to be selfish in some way. That was something I as well had to learn over time. So yeah.
What was the biggest, like, was it positions because we're talking about like responsibility, well, not responsibility, the fact that you've acknowledged what this issue is and that you're going to have to take, it is responsibility in the server, but you also, with that, you get a lot, I don't want to say better positions, because maybe not everybody looks at them as better positions, but more like impactful positions within maps, right? Like you get to play areas which are going to hugely contribute to round wins. And was there any like difficulties in stepping up to that? Was that something you were like, fuck it, I want to do it? Like how did that conversation go? Because almost everything changed. You've had multiple in-game leaders in this time. You've had multiple coaches in this time. Like a lot's changed.
What timeline are we talking now? Like when Robs left, or?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like there's a bunch of
I went through many role changes, right, in over the time. So
well, pick and choose. What was the hardest period? What was like, because this is the thing, because it's kind of, I don't know how you feel about it, but because you've been able to do so much, it kind of helps contribute to a more complete player in a way.
I think hardest and easiest was the one where like the Mouse NXT players came. Okay. I took over the Rob's roles, right? I went to being like the heavy lurk, but I feel like this is gonna be rough, like with the roles. But at the end, the roles transition was pretty easy, I would say, over the time. But I think what made it harder was really, just like, okay, now I'm here with these players, just really maintaining that healthy mindset and approach to the everything, I would say.
Okay. What about sorry, Striker, go for it.
No, just like you're saying, is the hardest, but at the same time, like that was the year that you immediately broke through into the top 20 after missing just barely, the previous years or whatever. Like obviously, your numbers went up pretty much instantly after that. So why do you think it was hard?
But as I said, all those guys, like they're all great players in Mouse. Like they allowed me to play as good as I did. Like without them, I don't think I would. I mean, before I think 2 years before, I had a close top 20 entry. I was like 21st, but these guys, they really allowed me to go in, because they gave me basically. There was a time I remember where I could choose roles. There was a discussion what roles I want. I could have been like the second lurk, we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But I went with the lurk heavy stuff. So I mean, there was
Yeah, I mean, why did you go with that? Is it just like watching Robs play those roles for such a long time? You just had like somebody to look up to in that, or why did you choose that?
No, if you remember in my status days, I was actually playing a lot of these roles back then. So it kind of felt natural to me to go back to it, But now I can say, going to the phase where I have different roles again. It's the ones I used to have in Mouse back in the day with Finn. Like this is probably the roles I would have picked now, Back then in Mouse, like if I had the opportunity to choose again, I would have picked probably the roles I have now than the roles I have picked.
Okay, I wanted to ask a couple of questions about the different leaders that you played with. So Karrigan, we can talk more about when we focus on the phase stuff. But Dexter came in, and I think there was a period where Dexter was there early, where you guys, I don't know if this was in an interview, or I don't remember where I ended up hearing this, but where you guys didn't like the way that the game was being approached, and you told Dexter that you wanted to kind of change the way that he was calling.
After Dallas, I think this was like an intervention thing, and then in Cologne they made like the playoffs run. That was the story, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, at one point there was a lot of conversations about Chris's leading in a way, you know. I think a lot of people had a lot of demands towards him, I would say, in terms of how they want to play the game. So I think at one point it really happened. I mean, the main thing was that like I was kind of the guy with the freedom, right? And Xerxen, it was the playmaker of the team. So like us two, we had the most freedom in a way, with Torji on top of it. You know, if he wanted to do anything, there was like he could always do whatever he wanted. But yeah, I mean, it came to a thing that like there was just too many. I feel like too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, I think Chris was getting too much feedback from everyone, and it just ended up him not really doing his thing, I would say.
Okay.
You know, and yeah, I think this was like the Paris major period, I would say, where we went out like 0-3. I mean, Dallas, yeah, then we went second place Dallas, right? But this was already like no one gave a shit in a way, and we just came there to enjoy, eat some good food, and play CS.
So it feels like it's gone through like multiple life cycles, because Prof, what you were referring to was 2022, right?
Yeah.
And what Froze is talking about is 2023.
I mean, 2022, when Chris came, we won Flashpoint, right? This was like the
Is that 2022?
I think so. The COVID still, no?
That would have been
2021.
Damn, bro. All these lineups, man, all these years. I don't know.
No, but the Prof was talking about the same period, I think 2020, like, 9 months ago or something. Like, I remember this exactly the same way. That it was also like into Cologne after the break, and that just started suddenly working.
But wasn't it Cologne 2022 where they made the playoff run?
Are we?
Yeah, that's true. We did with Dexter, Bimas, JDC. I think it's just when we swapped the is it?
MBK went out at the start of the year, didn't he, for JDC?
Yeah, and then mid-year was Cologne, right? So
yeah, but I don't remember this. Like, there was like one event that it might have been Pro League. Oh, was it before Pro League, or was like going into Pro League or something where you guys had the win? I don't remember, but I know what Prof is talking about. I just can't place it in the timeline.
I'm like 99% sure this was like IM Dallas 2022. You went out in
okay,
groups.
So you are talking about.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then someone said, okay, you had this like big intervention.
That's a different conversation then.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the conversation. This is where I said that I was told to be a little bit more selfish. Like, this is exactly the time I was told to be a little bit more of a star player. Because back then, I had Finn as IGL. Before that, I wasn't really a selfish player. I was the entry. I was following the Finn. There was in my head there was no place to be selfish. But here, exactly at this timeline in Dallas, where we bombed out, it was a time where I had to become a little bit more selfish in a way to become a star player. So yeah.
Okay. So let's I guess compare and contrast here, because there was a conversation with Dexter and Torji, right? That Dexter was the reason Torji was no good, and then Shui comes in and Torji starts playing really well. So do you give any like credence to that, or is that just like confidence of Torji being more comfortable with Shui? Like, you would have seen the change in him in the server. So what do you put that down to?
As I said, I think Torji always had the freedom to do anything he wanted in the server, no matter the IGL, if it was Dexter or Shuhi. I think it really comes down to him being more comfortable with Shuhi, Camille. I think they're good friends outside of the server as well. So I think at the end of the day, it's kind of natural that he just feels, more comfortable with Shuhi as IGL. And I guess, that makes him perform better. But I cannot really say that Shui is doing some magic about it. But yeah, like this thing got a little overblown over the time, I feel like, So yeah.
Just like everything, right? Yeah, it gets to the headline, and there's a whole lot of conversation around it. Okay, so in terms of the two in-game leaders that we've just discussed, is there a clear like contrast to you in the way that they approach the game or anything? Were you impressed with Shui coming up from the academy? Like, obviously he played with Gamer Legion, right, and then returned, so he had some top tier experience, but that was just that one major run essentially. And before that, it was definitely not of the same caliber.
I think Shuhei, coming from the NXT, I know with with Cyclone, back then they had a little bit more of a structure coming into the game plans, coming to the games. So I think that would have been like the biggest difference between him and Dexter, because Camille can prepare all these he could prepare all these game plans for the game, like what rounds he wants to start with. If this doesn't work, we do Y. If that doesn't work, we do X. And on the other hand, Dexter would be a little bit more of a, I would say, on the feeling guy. Seeing the game, read the game a bit, like come up with a solution on the spot. I would say. I don't think he was really a fan of having all this structure, which it can be good. I'm not really against it or anything like that. I think it really comes down to the leader itself. But yeah, I think it was the biggest difference would have been, I think, in like this structured-ish things.
Okay. And one more that for me, because it's difficult when we're on the desk or we're casting or even here doing the podcast, when we're having these conversations, is discussing coaches, right? So Cyclone's behind. He looks like the big brother of the team, but he looks like he has authority, right? But he looks like he gets along with everybody very well. So could you give us a bit more insight of Cyclone as a coach and maybe as what he delivers to the team? So next time I'm talking about the Mouse coach, I can say, yeah, well, Frozen said this.
I think
no pressure.
Yeah, I think Cyclone, I remember at Malta once, I was sitting at the desk with you guys, at the couch with you guys, and there was like this thing where I named him as an all-rounder, as a coach, because I think he has a little bit of everything. One thing that is unique about him, I feel like, is that he was playing the most recently,
pretty recently, yeah,
exactly, from all the coaches, right? Which I feel like gives him a little, maybe I don't want to say advantage, but I think he's really in the meta as a coach, I would say. On the other hand, he used to be like a teacher in Denmark in a school where they teach Counter-Strike. Mm-hmm. So I think this gives him as well some kind of ability to he knows how to talk to people, especially since he had academy players. I feel like it's not really that apart with the, I don't want to say kindergarten, but I feel like having students in the school, and I can imagine coming or creating the academy, it was like almost having the students in a way, right? So I think this definitely helped him, putting some kind of a system in the Mouse, because he knows how to talk to the guys. And then he has the ability to cook up stuff, like he has the tactical ability because he was an IGL when he was playing. So he has as well this, I would say, player vision of the game. So he can come up as well with a lot of suggestions, I would say, sometimes. I think that how I would summarize him.
What about in terms of his player changes? Because I think that was the biggest thing that probably people noticed. I mean, you mentioned NBK earlier. That was a move that I think a lot of people criticized him for at the time. But obviously, pretty quickly, it turned out that was probably the right call, or at least it was an improvement down the line. And then again, he did it with JDC, and then that's and after with Dexter, and that's where you guys had some success again. Every time he made change, it seemed like that was an improvement. So what can you say about that?
I mean, obviously, as a coach, I think he had a saying in a lot of the roster changes, and I think as CS scene is, it always goes that the coach is usually getting blamed for the roster change, unless you're Nico. So yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, as you said, I think a lot of the roster moves, some of them maybe looked weird from the outside, but I think at the end of the day, we're always looking for those 5, 10 extra percent where we could improve in some way. I'm not gonna say that some of the roster changes were made the right way. At the end of the day, I think now it is what it is. But I think he was always looking for the improvement. That's how I would put it.
Okay. All right. Well, boys, you have a jump and pivot to the. Actually, no, I don't need to ask you a question. Do you got something you want to say, Prof?
I mean, if we're still talking about IGLs, I guess like, are we going to speak about Kerrigan then?
Well, we'll get to phase.
Okay, so I'm not touching that.
No, what I want to do to
up.
kind of put a cap on this Mouse conversation is you, as we mentioned, you were there for the better part of 5 years. Do you have like a fondest or favorite memory or a favorite tournament that you won, or is there anything that you want to that sticks out to you from your time at Mouse?
I mean, I think the obvious one will be like the tournament wins that we had. Probably one of the EPLs that we won. Either in, I think the Odense once was
Big
a little
crowd,
bit,
right?
Yeah, that felt a little bit better, to be honest, than the Malta one.
100%. That's just the truth.
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, yeah, we won Malta. It felt great, but if I just compare the feelings, it felt a little bit more boring in Malta than it did in Odense. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the tournament. But I would say, yeah, the wins. I know there was a lot of good tournaments, to be honest.
I'm just reflecting on that right there because you played Astralis in the semi-final, right?
In Dallas?
In ESL Pro League Season 10, the one back in 2019.
Oh, yes, yeah. When they were
and that's the one where we have the great like glaive gift just
right?
smashing the desk.
I remember that.
Yeah, that is true.
When I talk about like tournaments that don't have to be like 10,000 people and crazy big arena, I always reference Studenza because it was like, I think like 3,000, maybe 4,000. I don't know, but it felt really intimate. It was loud. That's sick. Like that type of event, awesome. Yeah,
definitely. I was uncomparable to the Malta one, I would say.
Yeah. All right. So the Pro League win, nice.
I think the Pro League win, yeah.
Okay.
What about your majors? What's your relationship with majors?
I was about to say it could have been also. I could have picked Rio as a great memory because, yeah, I mean I think that was my greatest achievement at the major so far, right? Achieving semifinals. So I think that would be the best one. I think.
You ended up losing to eventual winners, outsiders.
Oh yeah.
In the semi-final, right?
And we lost to them twice actually in the tournament.
Yeah, in group stage as well.
And we beat them once.
That's right. You played them in a best of one as well, right?
We played them 3 times in the whole tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Major formats. We'll get to that a little bit later. Don't you worry. All right. Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. Let's get to a bit more modern day. So we'll set the scene. So obviously you played with Carrigan and Rops with the team that we were just referencing, winning the trophies, one of your best memories from the Mouse time. And then you look at I guess it was the middle of last year, maybe a little bit past the middle. Maybe we're going into the last quarter, but rumors started coming out that Twists was going to be departing, and nobody was really putting their fingers on exactly what was happening. And then they were winning, and then he was being asked in interviews, and it felt a bit melancholy. And he was like, "Oh, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it seemed a bit wishy-washy, right? It was like something that he had started, but now they were winning, and kind of didn't feel like he wanted to do anymore. But the wheels were already in motion. So at what point were you getting contacted to be that replacement?
I don't really remember now when it was like 100% confirmed, but I think I got the first message a little bit maybe before Sydney, if I remember well.
Okay. So we're getting into the tail end of the year.
That there could be something happening, if I remember quite well.
I mean, that lines up with what Twister was also saying, that already during Sydney, he was like pretty much already committed to going elsewhere, at least to not stay with FaZe, So
yeah,
so
but it wasn't like some crazy big talks, as I said. It was just like a little maybe update, I would say.
Okay, so update, you say. So had you been in conversations with Carrigan for a little while about, because there was the was it Carrigan who said it? He told you wanted to bring you into FaZe eventually. Is that how it went, Strike? I see you nodding.
I remember this. Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we talked about with Finn when he was leaving from Mouse. But I mean, I just said update, but it wasn't like Finn was updating me every 3 months. Like, okay, maybe I have a spot this month, or okay, this month maybe not. We're winning Sydney, It wasn't like this. I mean, we're always good friends with Finn, so we would talk at tournaments, talk live, talk CS. So in a way, I always was kind of informed, So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, former teammates talk, what's the situation with the other teams and stuff like that. Like, you always know what's going on in the scene, like who's possibly going out, who's not going out, whatever, whenever spot opens up. So that makes sense.
Exactly. If you want to know, you know.
So in terms of, let's just like talk about a bit broader at the time. Live in a fantasy land with me for a second, Frozen.
Yeah.
What other teams, if came and approached you at the time, would you have joined?
There was a lot of teams.
Okay, well, let's spill some beans.
But those actually did come and join. That did come and ask at least, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of teams. I think. I mean, I'm not really sure now. I think from all of those teams,
Vitality must have been one of them.
No, I honestly, I think yes, that would have been something I would consider if I didn't have a FaZe offer on the table.
Okay, so FaZe was position number one.
I think it was like either FaZe or Stay and Mouse.
Really? So that because you could have played with ZywOo. I
could have played with ZywOo, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say now. As I said, like if I didn't have FaZe offer on the table, I would have been thinking differently about the things. But
So was that obvious to you that like okay, FaZe was always gonna be the team?
I mean.
Is the logo like what about FaZe? Is the jersey?
Okay, if you want to know, I'll put it out there. When I was 15, I remember saying that it will be a dream for me to play in Mouse and FaZe, So in a way, it was also a dream come true, to join the organization.
Okay, so the org played a part. Was the bigger part playing with Rops and Finn again?
Oh yes, definitely. That played a part as well. Just having them on the team, obviously, but all the other guys in the FaZe, I feel like Rain, Brokey, Neo as a coach, Roban, being around as well. Like this is all, people like some of the people that I've been look up to at some point in my life. So it just adds an extra layer of confidence, I would say, to my toolbox. So I mean, there was many reasons why I went to FaZe. It wasn't very it wasn't just one thing that made it obvious.
I think one of the things that is difficult for maybe some of the newer Counter-Strike fans and viewers to understand is for people who played 1.6, names like Raban and especially Neo, like how much of a big deal they were. They were the Simples and ZywOos of back in the day, and Neo. Like watching Neo do like Red Rock 2 jump and just be so like graceful with it. That's the shit that, even when I was a teenager, I'm sitting there frothing over and I think I'm older than Neo. But the thing is that as a draw, like I can understand that, but maybe some of our viewers, they don't know exactly the lore of these players. And because you're a 1.6 guy, even at a very young age, I can see that being a big draw. Okay. So you reunite with Rops and Karrigan, and you've been keeping in contact, and sure, the other names there are great. That's also another fantastic thing to have, and the org is also awesome too. But were you aware of this whole what's it called? Fuck, I want to make sure I get it correct. I put it in the recent news. The Game Square stuff. Yeah, the merger stuff. Were you aware of what was going on then?
It was definitely a worry, because I don't think even the players themselves knew what's happening. Okay. It was definitely something to consider from my side, because at the end of the day, it is about my future, So it was definitely something to consider. But from, when like all this, like me joining to FaZe deal was happening, like I was, being informed about things. So, I had my source of information, and I just basically went with I just went with it.
Well, that's the thing. I think when you look at the strength of the team, right, and the brand itself, like I think most people would have confidence in the fact that it would get picked up somewhere, just that it's expensive, right? I think that was probably the biggest concern that people, it's like, holy shit, if someone is going to buy this whole team or something like that, it's going to cost a lot of money. These players are on probably quite large salaries. So I think that was the biggest concern. But we're going to talk about it a little bit later in the show when we get to the recent news. Everything seems to have worked out quite nicely in that regard. Okay, so let's revisit in that time period where you weren't in the team with Rops and Karrigan, and they've been off doing their own thing in FaZe. Do you see how much, like, was it noticeable immediately how much they had like grown and changed as players, or were they basically the same thing as you remember back when you played with them? What was that like, getting back in the server and talking Counter-Strike with them?
I think in some way they are you know, at the end of the day, same people, because they cannot really change that much. There is, you know, maybe they change in some way, I would say, outside the server. I think inside of the server, you know, maybe Robert is a little bit more sharper. Maybe Finn is a little bit more smarter because he watched 600 more demos. Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, they are the same guys, and that's why I as well joined FaZe, you know.
Okay. Prof, you wanted to ask a question before about Karrigan, I believe.
I mean, I was kind of going for the same angle as you, as in terms of like how the development, how he changed from mouse to here. But like with PS2 now being a thing and like the meta being different, like how does he play any differently individually, or like in terms of the calling? Is there anything that you noticed from Karrigan when you came in?
I think he definitely brought some, you know, I would say structure to how he is doing like his things, you know, maybe his individual routine, or you know, basically, yeah, you know, how he structures life. I think that's one thing that's like the biggest change, probably from the mouse days. Other than that, maybe, you know, I said in some interview that he's way more demanding than the IGL that I played with so far. So, you know, I think this is as well something that maybe changed over the time. That he, you know, demands a little bit more from his players as well. But that's as well, you know, something that I was, you know, looking for leaving from mouse.
What do you mean when you say more demanding?
I cannot reveal too much, you know.
Okay. All right.
You know, he has his way of doing things. He has his way of approaching matches. But yeah, I think, yeah, in this sense, he can be demanding, you know.
Okay.
What about how much you changed? I mean, like people obviously see that this is like the same trio that was back in mouse is like 5 years apart, you know, that you guys played together.
I got money and ego went up.
What?
I got money and ego went up, you know.
But how much, like in terms of in-game role, like I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of similarities, but like how much did your mindset change, and how much did you improve as a player in those 2 years without him? And how easy was it to slot into that role again? You know, to realize, okay, you're playing with Rops again, who you basically were 1-to-1 for the past 2 years. You know, ever since he left, you were basically at his role positions. You know, so how was it just coming back and trying to slot into? I don't want to call it the old mouse system, you know, but that's exactly what I'm asking. You know, how much is it similar to that mouse time? How much has changed?
I mean, myself, I had to, you know, obviously I had to grow a bit over the time in the lineups. I had to start demanding more in my positions. So basically, all the things I learned in mouse and all the habits I developed in there, I, you know, tried to transfer to the new team, to FaZe here. So, you know, if I was demanding a lot in mouse, then I tried to demand a lot here as well. So maybe, you know, in this sense, I changed personally, because, you know, when I was 16-year-old player in mouse, I wasn't really, you couldn't really call me a star player. I don't even think I was a star player, but I wasn't really demanding back then, you know. I was, as I said, I was entry fragger. I was just running in first. So over the times, I, you know, had to grow up and, you know, start wanting more from people. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like, yeah. It sounds like you didn't really have to reel back. You're like, you know, you were saying earlier how you needed to kind of like change your mindset and become a star player. It sounds like you've kind of kept that, even though like the roles change.
In a way, yeah. I mean, with everything how it was kind of built in mouse with all the lineups, I kind of knew I'll be the star player in a way. But again, as I said before, it was just really important that I keep this healthy mindset, you know, to don't get stuck up in, you know, me being tired, for example, of, you know, being stuck in this thing or whatever it can be the example, you know. I was really just, you know, focusing on the better days, basically, looking, you know, forward to what's going to come.
All right. Well, we're already touching on talking about roles and positions and whatnot. So when I did like a demo review with Rain, we were watching Donk on Nuke, and I was talking to him. I was like, oh, so how come you kept Yard on Nuke. Like, did you and Frozen like have a fight? And obviously Rain's big, so I guess he would have won that fight.
No chance,
right?
bro.
But he was like, no. When Frozen came in, we like. Now I might be misquoting him here, but this is how my brain remembers it. So if I'm wrong, Rain, I apologize. But something along the lines of, we gave him a blank sheet of paper and he could have had any roles he wanted, right? So first, I'm pretty sure I've seen in interviews that is the case. Like, you've acknowledged that, other players have acknowledged that. But why did you not want to take key positions like Yard on Nuke, for example, which is what you were playing on Mouse?
I think actually Yard was one of the positions that I wanted to keep. But I think slightly before I joined, Finn, we had a little conversation with Finn, and we just both ended up agreeing that he should, how we should keep it. Because I mean, even me, when I was outside player, I was watching his demos,
Sure.
Like in my eyes, like he's one of the best, if not the best outside player in the world, on Nuke. So yeah, I mean, I just didn't see a reason why to take it away from him, in a way.
Okay. But you were able to get some other positions that,
oh yeah,
right? So you're
had
playing
to steal
B,
something.
Yeah, be on Inferno, for example, right? You've got a couple of key roles and positions. So was that also talking with Finn and him going, yeah, we can make this change? Because they experimented
Pretty
before
much
with twists over towards B at some point. They didn't stick with it, but So I guess you just said Nuke is one that you would have liked, but you didn't get. Is there one that you were happy you got? Is there any position you're like, fuck yeah, I'm glad I got this spot?
I'm probably just happy that I'm back on Mirage short on CT. I would say, I didn't really enjoy A. So yeah, I think that's the one I'm the most grateful for.
Okay, all right. Well, so I guess looking at the early. Well, I guess we can transition to talking about the tournaments that you played with the team already, right? Because it's already been a couple of months and you've played a bunch of tournaments. So we've had Abu Dhabi, we've got Katowice in there. Katowice is the one that probably is still. I don't know.
Still hurts, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it a wound? Like, how does it feel? Because you guys got fucking owned in that final, mate. I don't know how many ways we can split that.
Yeah, I think that's the way I would put it, I guess. Yeah.
But what did it feel like? Because it's one of those games, like watching from the outside, that it's like you don't even feel like you're in the game.
I think it was like a roller coaster a bit. Starting on Nuke, I think there was definitely moments where we felt like we are in the game, but then again, few rounds go on and suddenly the game is out of your hands. On Mirage, it felt like we had chances. I feel like if I won this clutch on, I don't know what the score was against Sphero.
Was it at A?
Yeah, exactly. Like
your default
I feel
or something?
like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This could have been like the starting point for us to, start a comeback really.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I didn't. And yeah, I mean, they didn't. They just kind of, rolled with it. I think they always kind of had the upper hand in the game. I don't think we ever were on like a winning, like on a winning streak from the start. I would say. I think they always had the pistols. Yeah, so I think the momentum in this sense was always on their side. And yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, probably if you wanna discuss about it, then the biggest focus should have been on Mirage, because I feel like if we, actually won Mirage, then the mentality coming to Overpass would have been a little bit different. But yeah, I think it kind of, I don't want to say, I don't think broke us is the right word. I think, yeah, I think for us the only way to actually, make that somehow back to that fun or make that competitive was to win Mirage.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, especially because Spirit literally did not lose. They lost one map in the tournament, right? So they're the team that didn't even feel pressure.
And even that, I don't think they should have won, because there was this 1v4 from Wonderful, no?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of...
But you can break them, you can break them. That's the example of, like, you can break them, like they're also breakable as a team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean
we saw that at the RMR, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, Astralis should have won against them at the RMR, right?
Vertigo, yeah. So in that final, though, Finn looked like devastated, right? He looked...
I mean, obviously, because I think he, being part of FaZe, being part of the, lineup they had before, and with all the success they had, and, I think he was a little bit disappointed in a way that everyone was disappointed. Like we lost the final. I think this one was just a little bit more, I would say, special in that sense that it was the 3-0 loss. I think he said himself to us that he doesn't remember last time getting this destroyed in a final, to pick the right word. I think that I think the score made it so emotional, I would say.
Okay. Well, the talk of the town, and maybe not. Well, no, yeah, the talk of the town was Donk, right? Yeah, you had to go up against this kid. He's a freak of nature. What do you make of him as a player? Do you, because I was talking to some players, and I won't name any names, but they're like, oh yeah, but this or that, or you're hearing all these little things that they're trying to not fault him, but
kind of put him down,
Make
him downplay him as a bit, yeah, for sure.
What do you think?
I think everyone tried to do that at one point, before exactly, I think everyone tried to do that before, actually Katowice came, and he wasn't really attending all of the big tournaments. I think everyone tried to put him down in some way or talk bad about him in some way, but I think he just proved everyone wrong, which is great to see. It's obviously absurd that he brought up this level of performance in Katowice, but yeah, I think he as a player, I think he has a great set of aim mechanics. I would say. I think if you appear on his screen, you just need to be sharper than him. Honestly, I don't think he's outsmarting his opponents. I obviously watch some of his demos because we play some of the same positions, but it's not like he's outsmarting anyone. He's really very, very sharp.
I do remember, especially in that final, that you guys are just coming up into 1v1 duels against him, and he fucking wins 80% of them. And I don't know how.
There's even a point where triple pick him on the overpass and he just destroys us all. If you cannot triple pick him, then bring 4 people.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there was the Katowice final. I jumped forward a little bit. There was obviously the Abu Dhabi final as well. There was a question I wanted to ask. If we can just go back to the end of MOUZ, you played CAC, right, with MOUZ before you went, but it was already at that point you were already going to FaZe.
No.
No, it wasn't at that point.
No.
Oh, okay.
Was it Elisa was your last tournament when you were 100% new, right?
I think here, maybe I had some info. There might be something happening, but I was really just locked in for us as MOUZ, doing damage at the tournaments, and just because we as well were coming from the EPL run. I feel like so there was still some good things going on for us. So yeah, I think all that was in my mind was really just focusing on the tournament.
Okay, well, never mind. I got my wires crossed. The Elisa one, I think the Elisa one didn't go very well, right? That one was a bit of a fizzle.
Yeah, I think it was as well a little bit of a mental thing that we face again, because I think we played each other almost at every tournament at that point. Yeah, we didn't really beat them. I don't think we break the streak. I think we were losing to them constantly. I think that we beat them in the CS:GO in Malta, and then we just were losing all the time in CS2.
The transition to CS2. Well, that is a beautiful transition, actually. Unless, boys, do you have anything you guys want to ask about Kato or Abu Dhabi before we pivot?
No, I think we covered it. I think we'll continue to talk about Spirit every time we get someone on the podcast to ask about Donk. But other than that, we're good.
Well, this is perfect because this can pivot into the next moment, CS2, right? So I wanted to get, obviously, you're a professional Counter-Strike player who plays the game every single day, and you should have a very good grasp of how the game feels and things that you would like to be updated. Now, I want to preface this now because a lot of people on the Reddits and the Twitters and the forums are saying things about cheaters. Now, cheating for you, not really a problem when you're playing on LAN, I would hope. So we don't care about the cheaters. We don't care about extra content, right? We're caring about things in the game that affect you while you're playing top-tier professional CS. So how far is the game away from being where you'd want it to be? What are the biggest bugs? What are the biggest issues at the moment you think they need to iron out before the major? If you could tell Valve right now, or at least ask them nicely.
I think it's going in a good direction. I think the update they did over Katowice with the peaker advantage thingy was very nice. The one thing maybe that I don't want to say dislike, but okay, I'm not sure if I'm the only one having this problem or seeing this as an issue. I'm not even sure if it's an issue, but I think if you are a guy holding a smoke and there's a guy running out of the smoke, it is still hard to kill him. It's not as easy as it used to be in CS:GO. Like you have all these thingies coming together with him from out of the smoke, and yeah, I mean, I think this, at least for me, this could be maybe it had a little bit of a change, but I don't think it's some major issue, to be honest.
Could I ask a couple of questions and see how you feel about this stuff?
Yeah.
One of the issues that I see players starting to, it's been around the whole time, it just hasn't been discussed. But one of the things which I'm seeing to be a lot more prevalent now, what's a good example of this? CT spawn, or taking A on Ancient, we get the CT smoke on the A site and the molly behind the bomb box.
Oh, but you can stand it in between, right?
Yeah. What do you think of that?
Oh, yeah, that's actually... Yeah, I mean, I think if you are at the opposite side of it and you are actually not the guy using it, I think it's, it sucks. There's this thing. I mean, exactly, like this Ancient on A, this headshot angle. Like I had this duel against Nico in Katowice. He almost won the 1v4 with Deagle.
Oh, with the Deagle. Yeah,
exactly,
he was
right?
so tilted.
Exactly, right? He was just standing there, like in the Molotov, basically, in between Molotov and the smoke, you could say. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think in some way I don't know, might be an advantage. I don't really know. I'm not really sure if I like it, to be honest.
Because everyone's assuming that the player should be burning. If you have vision out of the smoke, you should be burning to the Molotov.
Yeah, but as well, like the visibility of him is kind of bad because of the molly, right? Because he's
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's double. It's a double negative for
exactly.
the people using the UTIP.
Exactly.
Fuck. Okay. And then the other thing that I still see people talking about is the boosting. Do you still have issues when you're doing the boosting?
I'm not really getting boosted that much lately, but
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I know it has been a struggle for a long time. So if that is not fixed, then it should be fixed, definitely.
Okay.
And there is some as well weird as a FPS bugs at the moment, I think.
I wanted to just ask about that because I know for the average users, a lot of them are complaining about FPS, but it's also for people that have like high-end PCs, which I presume you are. Is it still?
You can still feel it. I think you can still feel it on some parts of the maps.
Okay. Yeah, I that's the thing. I imagine if you're playing on not the top of the line PCs, it must be such a shit experience. I wouldn't even fucking bother, and I only play for fun. So fuck, I know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what. I don't know. How can they do? I don't know enough about computers or coding games or anything to say anything right now. So I'm just going to shut my fucking mouth. All right. Well, Prof, here you've put and PGL major.
Yeah. I don't know if we wanted to ask him about like moving forward. A few questions about like prep for the major and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well it's only 13 days away.
Yeah, I mean,
it's true.
It's practically here, right?
Is there a boot camp coming? Is there what's phases prep looking like?
There is boot camp coming, yeah. I mean, this is actually the first time we actually have time to sit down, and really practice ever since I joined the lineup.
Okay.
So yeah, practice going on, boot camp's gonna happen, and yeah, just going to the major, fixing things.
How long's the boot camp?
I think a little bit more than a week.
Okay.
I mean, you guys have some extra time, right? Like I'm assuming you guys knew that you were going to skip the first stage for a while because there was no way that you were going to fall out of the ranking.
True that, yeah. Yeah, I think that saved a little bit of the time, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what's practice in the interim look like since the RMR?
I mean, now we have few people sick, coming from, I would say rough schedule. I mean, we had almost 3 tournaments in a row, so immune system shutting down. We have some people sick, so recovery going on. A little bit of a practice just to stay in shape, but I think mostly the focus is, to add some new stuff, and once it comes to bootcamp, then fix mistakes.
Okay, cool.
Is Rob's gonna drive to the major?
In a Porsche?
Yeah,
I told him. I'm not sure. I don't think so, actually.
Feels like it'd be a long drive.
You should.
From Estonia, is it?
I have no idea. Mate, don't get me started on geography. Like last week, I almost started some type of a war with Macedonia and Greece or something. I don't fucking know, mate. I got to stop talking about Europe. Going to get me in trouble one day.
It had to be the first question as well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Straight out the gates.
You could ask before, you can't ask me. I'm there. I have some knowledge.
I should probably
Just
check in before.
Just check. Just get a quick sanity check before asking about
sanity check.
the Balkan countries' histories between each other. Spoiler alert: there was a war at some point.
A few of them,
both countries.
Yeah,
finally 2 countries.
Let's do this. Let's jump into Skinyonaire. Right, we'll do Skinyonaire with Frozen right now, and then we'll go to a quick ad break, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss all the news and everything else, and we'll get David's opinion on all the good stuff. All right, you ready for Skinyonaire?
What is this?
Oh, okay. Well, here we go.
He's first time here.
That's true.
As you said in the intro.
Sometimes I forget. All right. Skinyonaire is a quiz. All right. So there's 5 questions. They're multiple choice. There's 3 options for each question. And essentially, you are the people's champion while doing this quiz. Because if you get all 5 questions right, one lucky winner in chat will win a $50 skin voucher thanks to Trade.gg and your answers, of course.
No way it's depending on me if people are gonna win money or not.
Now, here's the case. You can use Striker as your lifeline. He can assist you through this. He can help you. You've got 60 seconds to answer per question. You got 5 questions. Are you ready to get things underway?
Oh yeah. Wait, I'm joining this.
Okay, so with this, you can click on the answers. I'll read out the questions and stuff for the people at home. You can have a bit of a think. You can ask Striker, and then you can click on which answer you think it is. You ready?
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Who Wants to Be a Skinyonaire? Brought to you by Trader.gg with Frozen. Question number 1. Oh, yeah, right. Trader in chat, everybody. With what team did Rain attend his first major? Was it Party Astronauts, London Conspiracy, or LGB?
Well, yeah, I can say it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
London Conspiracy, no?
What a weird name of a team that was. But yeah, they had some. Well, they were 2014.
Skurky, Rubinho, Rain, and I don't
Jacob
know.
in the team?
Could be. Or Croman Jacob.
Probably
Pauly?
been there.
Pauly might have.
Pauly
was
was
there,
there,
I think.
yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, question number 1, I can tell you that one's right. I remember seeing him there. 1 from 1. London Conspiracy. Bang. Okay. Straight out the gates. You got the first one
That was
correct.
fucking easy.
I just want to quickly remind everybody in chat, type
Bro,
Trader
he
in
was
chat
like,
right now.
15 at this point. What is going on?
That is true. That's true.
Already a pro player.
Even
probably,
less,
so
actually.
it's-
No, you must have been less than that.
Yeah, I was probably 13, 14.
It was 10 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, it was 10
Damn.
years ago.
So 11.
So you were 11 years of age.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay, question number 2. Which one of these players didn't represent Mouse? Alu, Body, or
Body.
Cadian?
40.
Yeah, bang.
Easy.
That one's another easy one.
That was fast. That was fast.
2
the
from
mouse,
2.
the Cadian tenure, I think, didn't last very long.
It was
I think
so
he only played like 18 maps, which I still
Was it like,
like that, yeah.
2 tournaments or
18.
something?
It was like super early. Like it was in the German team at the beginning, right? Somewhere in CSGO.
All right, question number 3. Brokey only played in one team before coming to FaZe. Which one? Alpha, Delta, or Epsilon? What the fuck?
Alpha, Delta.
Was it Dimitri or you, Prof?
I think even if I didn't know the answer, I would know it just looking at the answers.
Yeah, Prof, is that you or Dimitri?
I can't say.
All right,
It's a
won't
secret,
reveal the
top secret.
sources. Fair enough.
That was Prof.
Fuck, we're flying through this. Question number 4. Striker is the highest rated player from the Czech Republic on HLTV with a 1.3 rating from Virtus.pro Staff Cups, ESWC qualifier, or a DreamHack show match.
What the hell? What did you play, Striker?
I can't tell you in this case.
Well, you can.
He can't.
Oh,
he
shit.
can't.
I
You need to
should've.
help him.
Fuck,
But I think it is fairly obvious.
What?
It is the
I
answer
think
you
it's
would
the
expect.
Virtus.pro Staff Cups.
I don't know.
I don't
Is
know,
it?
though. I don't know. I just know that he is the highest rated Czech player. I feel the obvious one here would be the Virtus.pro Staff Cups.
I think that as well, yeah.
Okay, and he
Is
did
it
say it
it?
was the obvious one.
You need to. You need to
I
click.
guess.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's lock it in.
Really?
Correct answer.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking
Thank
hell.
you.
That was touch and go. I wasn't
He
sure.
was carrying Lurpus and the rest of the noobs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
me and Mako, man. Easy.
oh, really?
Yeah, it was me,
Yeah.
Mako, Lurpus, and like, I don't know, we had like a lot of different lineups. We had like 3 Staff Cups or something.
Was Tommy
That is-
botting out?
Huh?
Was Tommy botting out?
Botting out like bottom frag.
Botting out. Oh, no. No, he was okay.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough. All right. Last question. Question number 5. Simple will play his first CS2 match for Falcons against Metasport. But who was his last opponent? Monty, FaZe, or Mouse?
Mouse.
Oh, which tournament was that?
Malta, no?
It was Pro League. Must have been Pro League.
Yeah, Pro League.
There it is. All right, locking it in.
So, did you know that it was Bowser?
Me or him?
No, I mean whoever put together these questions.
I wanted to. How did this feel to retire the GOAT?
Temporarily.
You sent him to an early retirement with that,
Oh, yeah,
with
true
that
that.
win.
Yeah. Kind of. I mean, at that point, I think it was. I don't want to say expected that he's gonna retire, right? But I think there was some rumors around him, taking a break. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it kind of. I don't want to say makes sense, but them not doing so good lately, losing that final to us, I think, and as well CS2 coming out at that tournament. I think that Malta was the tournament where when the CS2 news came out, if I remember quite well. So
Yeah.
I think it just all kind of maybe aligned for him, to take the break at that time. So I don't really think I was we were some big part of his retirement or anything. I
He
think
couldn't close his eyes at night. He saw your face every time when he went to bed.
Yeah, we were there in his wardrobe.
Yeah. All right. Well, you were 5 from 5 of Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, brought to you by Trader.gg. The lucky winner in chat is, oh God, a noob. I think that's something we've all uttered in Face It before. All right. So once again, thanks to Trader.gg. If you're in the market for some skins, check them out. Instant, secure CS2 trading. All right. We're going to go to a quick ad break. We'll come back and we'll get into the recent news. Be right back.
Best esports odds. VIP program and a variety of bonuses. Fast and easy withdrawals. Bet on every possible CSGO matching tournament, as well as any other esports game. Only on 22Bet.
Are you tired of your boring old skins? Head to Trade It and trade them for exciting new ones within seconds. With 24/7 support, massive inventory, free giveaways, and low fees. Trade It is the highest rated trading platform in the market. What are you waiting for? Start trading today for a $5 bonus, only on Trade It.
All right, we're back from the break and we're ready to get this one underway. Striker has abandoned us. Hopefully he returns. No, he's returned. Look at that. Fuck, he was quick. Okay, we're going to get straight into the recent news. We're going to jump in with the juiciest of the bunch. The Astralis fallout from them not qualifying for the first CS2 major, the first Danish major, has been quick as far as ramifications are concerned. BlameF is out. Device takes over as the in-game leader, and Bro has joined the team from Monty. When you see this one go down Frozen, what the fuck are you thinking, mate?
Sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the stacked Astralis lineup, I think everyone would expect them to make a major, right? Yeah, but I think all the CS players know that RMR is one of the hardest tournaments in the scene. Basically, the pressure is a little different. It's I don't know. It's just a different vibe on that tournament, I feel like. So I think there was some upsets bound to happen, I would say. Yeah, sucks. It was Astralis, but I think maybe it was for something good at the end of the day that it happened now.
Okay, I'm gonna see if you'll ever be a politician. Are you ready for this one? Where do you stand on the BlameF beta conversation?
I mean, I don't know. I played the lurk positions, right? So I feel like if your team is not doing good, you're gonna you will be called a baiter, no matter what. I feel like I never really invested that much time into his playstyle. Obviously, maybe I can judge from the stream I've watched, some games. I don't know. I don't think I want to really comment on it, to be honest. I think he just, he has his playstyle, he as well. I don't know how much his playstyle changed over, before he was in IGL and now when he's IGL, or when he was in IGL in Astralis. But Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna comment on it honestly.
Can
I think it's
have-
a very thin ice.
I'll ask,
It's a
I'll ask a
loaded
different,
question.
I'll ask a different way. Do you have some sympathy for that as a guy who's obviously, you also have quite high saving stats. You had that in Mouse as well. So do you also feel that way, or that like you have that scrutiny sometimes on yourself, or?
As I said, if your team is not doing good and you are this heavy lurk, you will be called baiter. I think most of the time. Yeah, maybe my excuse would be that I was an IGL, so in this sense, it sounds a little bit better, But I think if you are IGL and then you are being called a baiter, I think, it sounds a little different. So yeah, I think maybe in this sense it's a little bit different, but I know he had a lot of same positions as I did before he was an IGL, so I think in this way I can have a sympathy for sure, I don't think he was like, I don't think he's like crazy baiting. Crazy betting like you would bait your team as in a face it, because you're better.
Well, let's pivot here, Prof. I want to throw you. It's not a softball, but I'll throw. You can pick one of three options here. What was the most shocking of the announcement to you? That blameF got replaced, that Device took over in-game leading, or that Bro joined the team?
I think the Device side yelling has to take it. Like
that's a good question.
I think blameF being replaced or benched or something, I think that was reality people were ready for based on it's just a team just didn't play well and he's the IGL.
But I see conversations of people saying, but why didn't blameF stay and just not be the in-game leader? What do you say about that?
That's a little bit short-sighted, isn't it? I mean, it's
but it doesn't it not solve some of the issues that is the role clashes? But how do you solve the role clash between Blame and Stown if you have Blame and Stown? You're not going to solve it. I don't think you're going to solve it. Something needs to change there. So I think that even if he's not the IGL, is not really a great option. And also he's been around for so long on Astralis now, and they've been so bad realistically over all of this period. So he's the common denominator. There is that one thread that I linked you, unfortunately deleted on HLTV, but it was blameF the history man, and it was all of these things that happened in Astralis only while blameF was there. It's they made every major until blameF joined. They never did any, they never lost to Liquid until blameF joined. There's so many things that are connecting. And it was obviously a hate thread. But again, if this guy can find 25 things that happened in blameF's tenure, then it's not the best look, right? There is too much tying blameF to bad results, I would say. Okay. So I think it makes sense.
To be fair though, this is what's the cause and what's the result, just because obviously blameF came in at the worst period for Astralis anyway. They were already losing all their best players, so it's kind of it's a little bit unfair to just look at it from one piece of the context, and just say, okay, blameF's the reason for this, he just came in at a bad time and he didn't have three players that were realistically fit for the job at that point.
But I want to say this Device IGLing thing, Jesus Christ, why is this I think everyone loves Device. I think he's one of the most loved guys in CS. But this does not feel like the right solution. It feels like kind of grasping again for something that should be good, but realistically, there is no precedent as for Device to be an IGL. Realistically, there's nothing that we can look towards and see this is a guy that can lead a team.
He said himself, right, that he was leaning towards the role for some time now. So
yeah. So where do you fall on this topic, Frozen? Right, with that in mind, if a player is saying that, especially one of the pedigree and winningness nature of Device, what do you think about it? Do you think it's because the community seems to have generally a pretty pessimistic viewpoint on it?
I think IGL as a role, I think it has kind of two sides of the coin. I think it's either you start very early with it and you really are committed to being in full-time IGL, or you grow into it over the time. I feel with all the people you had in your teams over the times in your career, you learn a lot of things, and you kind of developed all the abilities to be a IGL. I don't know. I think it's hard to, for a player who, for example, was a For example, Apex, right? He was an entry before.
Mm.
I don't think it was a thing over, like it didn't happen over a day that he suddenly happened to be an IGL, you know. Like he played with a lot of players, you know, and he learned and he developed into the guy that he is now, you know. That made him an IGL. So with Device, you know, it's hard to say. Obviously, it's difficult to imagine him as IGL at the moment because we all know him as this, you know, star O player since forever, basically, right? So, you know, having him as IGL or imagining him as IGL, I don't know, I think it's interesting because, you know, at one hand you have this Oper who I feel like is very known for hitting all these shots that you want your Oper to hit, you know? Like he's this solid Oper that will give you the kills or the entries that you need. Now at the same time he will be the guy who is as well commanding everything around the game. I think it can be either very good or very bad, you know. That's how I look at it.
I have yeah, I have just a follow-up question for you, Frozen. What do you think is the quality, most important quality for an IGL?
Obviously, I think game sense would be like the main one. Yeah, you need to have some sort of thinking for the game, I would say. I think visualization of the things. I think it's good if, you know, you are able to visualize stuff on the spot. Then I feel like, you know, it can make your overview better while being in the game. But at the same time, you can benefit from this in like the evaluation department, you know, where you are discussing scenarios and like you don't really have to be necessarily in the game to picture the round in your head, you know. Then, you know, in some way, I think you need to have like this leadership mentality where people look up to you in some way. Yeah, but I mean, there can be, I think there can be a lot of abilities that you can have as IGL. I don't think there is a perfect IGL so far that we've seen. I think, you know, all of the IGLs have a little bit of different spices to them, you know. Some can be a little bit more emotional. Some can be, you know, a little bit more, you know, whatever. I don't know. I think it's hard to say what really is the most important ones, but I think, you know, just the game sense, having the will to I guess be the IGL, right? Because to lead the people around you.
Well, obviously a lot of responsibility comes with it. Striker, you wanted to say something before, mate. What was it?
No, I mean, there's just so much to unpack with this, right? Just because there's like, okay, so like to play the devil's advocate and why this could be a good thing, right? Like, let's say we were bringing up the Apex comparison, right? And Apex has always been a guy who has been known for his hard work and for putting a lot of time into the game. And that's something that Device shares with him. Like, he has a very meticulous approach to the game. Like, he will constantly look at demos. Like, there was the whole storyline about like he's constantly looking at like where his uppers will, like opponent uppers will stand, so he has like the best chance of getting the entry on them, or, you know, like all that stuff. Like really putting a lot of effort into researching the game, and that's before the time where this was such a big meta, you know, into like putting so much time into like watching other people's demos, their flight paths and all this stuff, you know. So like from that perspective, like I can see how Device could be inclined to the same path as Apex, but there's the obvious problem, which is that like he's the star player. Apex was already not a star player for a very long time before this was his future, you know. So I feel like that's the biggest problem is like, can he do both at the same time? I mean, like obviously he has the, like, let's say just replace him with Cadian, or, you know, like replace Cadian with him, you know, in Heroic. He has the same core of players, you know, and he has a similar playstyle to Cadian now, actually. If you think about like how aggressive he can be, how much of a playmaker Device can be, you know, in terms of like being a little bit more entry focused than like most Alpers will be, and just like combat oping a lot more than the typical Alper. And I think like he is not dissimilar to Cadian in terms of playstyle to make this work, you know, to have those two guys in front of him and be close enough to them, you know, to be able to lead the pack, and then have the people on the sides to be able to use them, you know, because he has some smart players on the extremities, you know. He has Yappy, who has grown into a pretty good player, like individually, you know. So like the question is like, how much pressure is there really going to be on him to be the in-game leader, you know? Because I think we faulted Blameth for maybe possibly not giving him players enough space, because there was a lot of 4+1 like hitting sites, as a 4-pack, having one guy on the extremities, not letting the
players play,
not utilizing his players, because he has he had amazing players on his team, right? And then, like, he could have let them roam around a little bit more, play the seesawing meta, that you see so much in today's Counter-Strike, and so, like, question is, like, does Device even need to be a big micromanager? Does he need to be like a very strict in-game leader, or is it just about like setting up protocols that are solid enough for him to just be able to have a decent enough overview and then just make the mid-round calls, right? This takes time, like, it didn't take Cadian fucking few months, for him to develop the playstyle that Heroic had, and that worked so well for them, and that like he could mid-round call in, and he had to have the right players, like he needed to make the right moves to make this work.
Also, one of the best coaches ever, Hunden. So.
True. Yeah, true that.
I mean, and this is also, a lot of it was during the online era when everyone could talk, so you can't take that for granted either, with the whole Heroic development into what they were during the online, and then later on offline as well, kind of playing the same style.
But there's also the argument, that, like, obviously, you're putting a lot of pressure on a guy who's had a history of
stress,
of like the stress triggering his health issues, and that, like, suddenly he has even more stress on him now to put the results, to give the results, so he's the star player, star opera, and he's supposed to be the in-game leader now as well, even putting more time into the game, which takes away from his ability to recover if he has some of these, like, bad periods, where it comes to his health. Like, that happened in the past numerous times, where he had to take a break, or at least had to skip out the tournament. They didn't ever travel to Sydney because of that, because, like, he couldn't take that strain, on his body, So I feel like there's a lot of risk connected to this, and, like, the biggest shock for me is that they just made this decision so fast. Like, it feels like they could have waited easily for a month, or at least
wait till the major, try and get HooXi.
This could still be the test. Like, I don't know what the Bro deal is. Like, let's say Bro just has some sort of, like, a short-term deal. Maybe this is not, like, 100% set,
like a trial,
set in stone. Exactly. Like, it could be like a 2-3 months trial. Let's see how this goes. Maybe in a month's time, somebody will open up, like, HooXi, and they will be able to get an in-game leader instead of him, But the way that I don't know if this is like the Astralis' like desperate need to, like, signal always, like, knowing what is the next step and what, like, their competence, even though obviously a lot of times they made moves that were very risky and very questionable, or if it is really their thinking, that this is the future, Device is going to be our in-game leader for years to come, and this is how he wants to extend his career, like, from all this messaging that I've heard, like, over the, like, in days from BlameF or from their RMR failure, they just suddenly decide this is their future. And I get it, that, like, Device had probably had this inclination that this could be in his future at some point, but I don't know if he was thinking about, like, this coming, like, this year or, like, even the next year. Like, it could have been, like, 2 years down the line where he realizes, okay, I can't put up the numbers that I could, so now this is the time for me to transition into something else. So I don't understand the messaging and the timing around this, because I feel like the easiest time for them, especially because they don't have anything to play until after the major, is to wait it out and see what happens and see what opens up for them.
But only one thing makes sense to me here. And Frozen, you're actively playing, so tell me if this makes any sense to you. But if Device doesn't want to do this, then they don't do this.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has to be committed, right? I think what Striker mentioned with the stress part, I think that's the one thing I would be mostly worried about with the Device going to IGL. But I think the one thing you should not forget is that I think him being IGL now, it cannot be worse than it was,
I agree with that. No, I agree with that.
Like, I said as it is, like, I think that's the truth. It cannot be worse. So I think it's more of a, like, it's like a testing ground in a way, I think I would say. Like, I think they still have one guy who could pick up an IGL role, I would say, in that team. But yeah, I mean, for now,
Stone, I think I'm guessing.
Think, yeah, with that being Stone. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think, yeah, as I said, I don't think it cannot be worse. So yeah, I think they will just see.
They have tournaments they have to play in and stuff, so you can understand like why they could have just filled with academy players and then just sat there like treading water for a while until after the major. That was my thought, is like, why not just wait until after the major and then see if you can get one of these Danish in-game leaders? I imagine Snappy, no. Falcons, I don't know what the buyout.
And Kerrigan's not going to happen. So it really is like HooXi, or like if you really want to go down to to like.
Well, Liquid's fucked. Try and get KD in.
Bird from Sky. Bird from Sky.
Yeah, Bird from Sky.
Imagine KD going to Astralis, man.
Yeah, with Stown and Yavi. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would not, bro. That's not gonna happen. Like I understand that the options are scarce. You know, like you can do Patty, like as this guy who's like brought Ecstatic without a coach or like to the major and all that stuff. Like he is the next kind of like up and coming game leader, it seems like. But does he have enough to have these kind of players under him? You know, that's like a completely different conversation. So I get it that the options are bad. Like if it's not Hooksy, then then you're probably screwed. Like there's all these in-game leaders and none of them are an option. Glaive's not an option. Might
as well go with the 4-time major champion, right? That you have on your team.
Yeah, exactly. Just bring it back.
Yeah.
But like that's exactly like they
bring Glaive back. You know.
Yeah, that's what hey, like just I'm sure Nadu's a reasonable guy. Just have a conversation, see how much money it would cost. That's where I was leaning with it. Just bring Glaive back. But I'm not as neg on this. I haven't given a public opinion on this since it happened because I was like, because I think like the biggest fear is it just tarnishes Device's legacy. He does this and it's miserable and he performs worse and then it kind of simmers out and it's all over. And it's like, well, that's a sad way for it to go. But that's the thing that for me, I was just thinking about it. This wouldn't have happened unless he was like, hey, boss, I want to do this, right? Because he is Device. It's not like we're just dealing with some guy. Like it's fucking Device. Like he's clearly said that he wants to do this. And look, we can all position one way or another. I think they made the right decision by cutting Blame. I think that's a great call. I think the Device thing caught me off guard, and Bro also caught me off guard. But
I mean, role-wise, that fits. Role-wise, it does. Fits. Yeah. You can at least say that.
I mean, he's gonna allow other players to shine. I feel like.
Yes. Well, he did a lot of dirty work on Monty.
They're gonna get I think they're gonna get unlocked a little bit more. Hard to say if Device how he's gonna set them up, how is it gonna work. But I think, in a way, I mean, they lost. Obviously, I think a good player in Blamev in terms of stats, but I think they might gain some more in some other ways, you know, in their games.
Someone in chat has said, didn't it go from not having fun to playing to being super motivated to be an in-game leader in a span of the week? What is that? Come on, guys. Like, let's read between the lines here. Prof, what does that say to you?
I would say one could intimate that means he didn't have fun playing with Blamev and the way the team was playing, and also in the specific circumstances of the pressure at the time that was on Astralis to qualify for the Copenhagen Major and for Device to qualify for a major, seeing that he hasn't played a major since Stockholm, correct? So it's going to be
NIP and LNZ.
If he makes it in Shanghai, that's going to be 3 years without the major for Device, which is absolutely crazy. And this kind of happened out of nowhere, right? That this.
I mean, a year of that he was gone, but to be fair,
but essentially we're talking about the legacy of Device and all of these things and stress and blah blah. But I think one thing that causes the most stress is like not having control over things that are happening and just kind of being the victim of circumstance and everything that's around you. So to some degree, I can see why taking over this responsibility could make it better, like, because at least it's on you to do something.
It's in his hands now.
Yeah. So I do respect the decision, as long as he doesn't, pull out of it in like 2, 3, 4 months, like a lot of IGLs do, right? If there's some problems, but he powers through, then I think he can be a great IGL, because Frozen, what you're saying about like an IGL needs to understand the game, needs to have like respect of his teammates. He's a system player. Like, yeah, he has a lot of
aspects of a good IGL. I feel like
the only thing that we don't know is about, handling the stress and the pressure and these things in big moments, having the clarity to make, the good call and calm people down and like understand what needs to be done in a tricky situation when everyone's kind of losing their shit and it's a bit chaotic.
And it's as well different when you're just kind of a player focusing on your role, and let's say you're not performing well, whereas you're an IGL and now you need to focus on the kind of 5 people in your team, I mean, before all the CS thing, I was a little bit in the gastronomy, and once I heard like working with it, like work around people and with people is like one of the hardest work you can ever have. and being in IGL in a way is the same. Like you need to be able how to talk to people. You have 5 different guys in your team who all react different to certain things. So you as well, in a way, you need to be a psychologist as well in some sense. You need to really know or get to know how to talk to your players. Yeah, there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the biggest question of like, okay, like they've called Device like this natural secondary leader or something like that, like in just a lot of the messaging. Even when they got BlameF into the in-game leadership position, I have a cat walking across the table. So like from that aspect, like I can see that, but it is different to go from like a secondary leader or from having like some natural authority in the team to being like a full time. It's like I would liken it to like secondary oppers, wanting to become primary oppers and thinking that's the same thing, sometimes actually, because it is always tricky, to just go full time.
I wish I never played with Device, but I was an opper for a bit back in the day, and some time ago. Probably no one's gonna remember, but the image of an opera I have in my head and how I imagine operas is that they are able to take over the rounds without the IGL, like he's gonna like
spawns what peaks they want.
Like that's the first step, I would say, but after this there is way more things you can do. I think I always like to compare to like the chess pieces. If you are an opera, you have the biggest overview on the map most of the time, so you're always able to set up your players. I take this angle for you. You can walk up, focus on this side. While I have this for you, then I can do this flash or whatever is the case. Like there is so much more you can do as an opera, which I think Device. I mean, I never played with him, but I could see that this is something he has over the years because with the experience and everything he has in his toolbox, like. In a way, he already was a caller probably in some of the rounds or at some point of the games. I think that's something that we need to have in mind is, as an opera, you are a caller in some sense. Yeah.
And I think, Striker, you also offered up a nice little counterbalance to this in the first place. When we look at Yabi and Stown playing with Cadian. So they already know what it's like to play and have what information they need to contribute to their AWPing in-game leader to function. And this is, I think I mentioned this on broadcast the other way when I was doing the RMR stuff, but I've been talking to Azza a lot more lately, and he had a brief stint in Sprout, and he spoke very highly of Stare and the way that Stare communicates and the type of information that Stare communicates. He says very high tier and like he thinks that, well, actually I might be wrong with this, but he was saying like it's like in-game leader level communication when he's doing the map control and telling like, I
heard something. I don't know if I heard this from you, but I feel like I've heard this as well somewhere, and I'm not sure if it's just like the same people telling like both of us or something.
Maybe it could be, but there's some positives there.
I mean, he has like, look, obviously Yabi has some experience now, and that's like one of the guys he's going to have on the side, to be able to control one side. Then if Stare is communicative enough on the other side, maybe there's not going to be as much pressure on Device as we expect, And
everybody in that team is going to respect the fuck out of Device.
Yeah. Everyone respects Device,
right?
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has this as a, I think one of the abilities as an AGL. I think this one he has,
That aura around him.
People look up to him. Yeah.
All right,
look, I wish nothing but for this to work, just because it would be such a cool thing for him to transition into. Like, I don't know if he has it in him, but it would be a fucking cool story if he pulled it out finally, and okay, brings back Astralis, like, the prodigal son returns, just fucks up a couple of times, then realizes, okay, I have to take it in my hands now.
I think it's interesting that, how old is Device?
28, I think.
28. I think it's interesting.
28 now.
I muted myself. I think it's interesting that as a CS player and in this industry, you can find yourself and this, even though you are almost at the, like, let's say, peak of your career, you can always find yourself at a rebuild in a way. You know what I mean? Like, he was an opera his whole career, and now suddenly after all these years transitioning to an IGL, it as well must be so exciting for him because, like,
sure.
Like it's. I don't think he went.
It's a new challenge.
Exactly. I think this is, it's a new challenge for him for sure.
All right, let's put a lid on the Astralis conversation from now, and let's pivot because we got a lot more stuff to get through on tonight's show. Frozen, we're going to handball this one to you, mate, and you can tell us what you think about this, and then we can move swiftly on. So there was a CS2 update recently. They changed the spawns. I have a look at Anubis is like 11 on T-side Anubis, 11 on T-side Overpass, 9 on T-side Vertigo. But then on the CT sides of those maps, there was only like 5. What are you thinking? What are you making of it all?
I know on some maps it kind of screwed some things. I know on Ancient, for example, some of the like spawn smokes don't really work as they used to. On Mirage, I mean, obviously people had to change the smokes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's the reason for the spawn update, but I mean, yeah, we're just adapting, you know, like.
Yeah.
Have you had enough practice on it, like to be able to tell just how much this impacts the meta? You know, because like especially on Inferno, they're talking about like how everybody had like the small spawn smokes, and that was something that FaZe even brought first. You know, the small spawn smokes from the middle
CT
and then,
side.
I'm not really sure about Inferno, but I know Ancient, Anubis, Mirage was definitely affected by this, from what I can tell from last days.
I think you posed probably the best question just there of like, what's the point of this? Because I don't even know if it was intentional, because I will say this. During the RMRs, there was a heroic game, and it was the heroic game on Ancient, and there was a lot of timeouts in the start of the rounds. And I was watching Shush pointing at the screen with the admin behind him. And the first thing that came to my mind was the spawns are wrong. Right? There's something wrong here with the way that the server is loading in or whatever, because Shush is pointing at the screen, and Shush of all players, I could guarantee will know that Insta Window Smokes T-side like Ancient. So if the lineups are wrong, then I feel, so I don't know. I'm completely just speculating right now, but here we go. Lucas is here. They were wrong. They had casual spawns when load. So, okay. So that's what I'm wondering, if when they were, because of the issue they had when loading the backups, if that caused Valve to make some changes with the spawns, which has now had larger ramifications than they'd realized. Because let's be honest.
That's kind of how it sounded to me. But I mean, it's been long enough for me to think that they would have fixed it by now.
The way that the spawns have changed, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, if it was unintended, like, I mean, wouldn't they just like roll back the changes that weren't intended?
One thing I understand is fixing the, like, so your spawn doesn't change after many restarts, right? So now what it made is like, if the game restarts, you get the same spawn constantly, right?
None of those bug spawns that would happen like, if you rejoined.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this I get, like, this is fine, but why would you change like the actual spawns? Like that, you know what I mean? Like actual good spawns that were there, the classic ones, why would you change those?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think they've realized how much of an impact that has to the way the game was being approached in certain scenarios. So I think that was I think it's an accidental side effect of a bug that they were trying to fix, an anomaly that they were trying to make sure it doesn't happen when you're doing reloads, or because we all know, like, you're in a FACEIT lobby and everybody's in and someone's like, oh fuck, I got to restart. So they disconnect and then they rejoin and then they have this like fucking spawn that's like closest to A main on Anubis, and you're like, oh shit, bro, you're picking A main.
My guy
right?
spawned A already.
Yeah, right. So avoiding that kind of stuff is good. But the overall issue that it may have caused, I don't know if Valve are even aware of how much they may have fucked with things. And unless there's like a big backlash, which there doesn't seem to be, people are just posting cheat sheet of how to smoke window on, you know, that's all we've really seen. It hasn't been like a big backlash. So it's probably a conversation
honest, because we don't know, because Valve never says why they do stuff. So we can only guess. Like if they said like why they did stuff, then we can understand, oh, this is not what you intended to do, but we don't know. Maybe they just wanted to fuck up the spawns to make it, you know, to make it a bit more exciting, you know, to spice it up in the T spawns, you know. It's getting boring. Also, people are calling you a Valve shill for some reason, even though you're literally saying that Valve probably fucked up. So I don't know why that's happening. It doesn't really make any sense.
You know, there's some narrative spinners out there, Prof. There's some good ones of those. All right, what do we got next, mate? Let's jump into the GameSquare merger. Okay, so FaZe, they're now they're in the GameSquare family, and guess who's not?
Yet, but
soon to be. All right, pretty much. I like pretty much.
I mean, I think they said, yeah. I mean, the problem is, like they said originally, they said it was supposed to finish in the last quarter of 2023. Then it got pushed, and they didn't even say a date. Now they're saying it's like in the next few weeks. But with Complexity being like pretty much bought out now, I'm assuming it is actually close to completion.
Well, the biggest part of this, because I don't understand, like, I guess GameSquare is a big company with a lot of money. Great, cool. Frozen's going to keep getting paid. That's good news. The other side of this, the more interesting side to the majority of the community, is that Jason Lake has brought back Complexity. It was him and a friend Like
That's what he said. Yeah, like a close friend of his. Yeah.
Okay, well that's kind of cool. Jason Lake, the original Complexity owner, back in business. We had this whole bullshit with CGS back in the day, where I think I don't. Again, I'm talking like a little bit out of school. I don't know exactly, but I guess he sold it to CGS.
He sold it to, I don't remember the name of the company, but like whoever took over Complexity at the time for like 4 years doing CGS. Then CGS collapsed, and then he bought it back in 2010 to 2009 or something like
and
that.
Then was the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, 2017 he sold it to Dallas Cowboys, and now he's getting it back effectively. That's the story. And
that was kind of, we'll talk about this shortly with the RMR conversation, but kind of a big deal that Complexity actually qualified for the major, because imagine you just bought the back. I don't know what type of funding or how much money he has or where any of this is coming from, but then you don't have the security of the major. Things could fall apart very quickly.
I mean, who knows how important this major qualification is, because there's like, in the details, I know that people probably didn't necessarily read into it too much, but like this is kind of like going to be paid out over the next 3 years. The vast majority of was it 11 million or something like that? That was the sale, and I think 9.6 million out of that was going to be paid out over the next 3 years. And I mean,
it cost him 11 million to buy Complexity.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like the phase acquirement was like 16 million or something.
16, 17, something like that.
So not a big difference between the two things. But
how is that even possible?
I don't know. First of all, different situations. First of all, FaZe was publicly traded, so you can have the stock. So that's the evaluation, blah blah. And I think Complexity maybe also came with some of the spaces that they used, which is part of the. I'm not sure, but maybe that could offset the price, because the thing that they have in Frisco in Texas, which I visited, was really nice. It was a really nice headquarters. So I'm presuming they might want to, keep on to that, because that's kind of where they built some of their business and everything. So maybe that's part of the reason why it's so expensive.
Okay, cool. We can put a pin in that one. We can keep moving quickly through the recent news. Okay, so we've had a bunch of players become free agents recently. JKS no longer on the G2 bench. SDY, which was a surprising one, leaving Monty, parting ways there. And Esperanto returning. All of those. Oh, and Yugi as well. I missed Yugi off this list, but Yugi's also returning.
JDM as well, no?
JDM as well. Yeah, the list is growing. So there are some free agents around right now. And look, Frozen, I'll throw this one to you. None about any of these names in particular, but I'm kind of forecasting that after the major, we might be seeing another bit of a roster shuffle with some of the teams that don't perform as well as they should. Is that something that you're kind of vibing on? Look at that. I got young people lingo.
I mean, there are probably going to be some roster changes for sure, right? I think there are some good players that are free to be picked. I think Someday Young, I think that's the most interesting one for me, probably together with JKS as well. I think he definitely still deserves a spot somewhere in some European team. But yeah, I think these two, we gonna see in some teams probably after the roster change, I would say.
Okay. The Esperanto one, maybe we just elaborate for everybody. Maybe for some of our newer viewers, might not be too familiar with him. He played in Crazy back at the Starlight Berlin Major 2019, I believe it was. And he was
Hunter.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's good context.
He's actually Frozen. You lost to them in the qualifier for that major, right? Was that when you were in No Chance? Did you lose to them?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe when I was No Chance, but then I came for them in Mouse. So I don't know.
Yeah, you even the score for sure.
But back then, just he was quite a talented individual as far as like mechanics were concerned. I thought he was like pretty good with his aim and stuff. But I think it was his attitude that was a problem back then, or at least that's as far as the rumors went. But apparently, in the interim, he did military service, which will, I guess, correct anybody's attitude. I would say quick, smart. So interesting to see him returning, and he's making some tweets and he'll be streaming all of his progress and stuff. So we'll keep our eyes on Esperanto and see if he can make a return to the upper echelons of Counter-Strike. Anything interesting that Striker Prof you guys want to talk about with these free agents? I just wanted to, kind of be rattling through.
Monty is kind of blown up, right? With SDY
Demka,
and
Waro, and Krasnala left.
Yeah, SDY and Bro out, so that's kind of tricky.
I think Overdrive was also saying that he heard Krasnal's out as well. I don't know if that's true or not or what, but that was like the first thing that came out of the Monty camp actually, like that Krasnal might. But who knows? Like Overdrive's been known to be wrong. So it's
there's
not 100%.
There's a rumor about, was it Kvem coming in, like a Ukrainian guy?
Not even a rumor. They actually announced that he would be playing in the near future or something like that. That's not even just a rumor.
So maybe they can rebuild, but it is a big hit, I think, to really good players that they lost from their team. So that's kind of sad for them, but I definitely see SDY. Maybe the SDY Navi thing happens after all. You know, we had them on the show recently. We had that poll, like, should SDY go to Navi? Who knows?
He could return. Anything's possible. All right. Quickly jumping onto this one, and this is another business-related one. Can someone explain this to me? Well, I don't know. Maybe this makes sense in itself. Heroic left the Louvre agreement. We all know that the partnership agreements are up at the end of this year, so there are no more Blast partner teams. There'll be no more ESL partner teams come the end of 2024. So why did they leave now? How does it affect them? Does anybody understand this?
I think I can kind of explain, like, broad strokes why this happened or how this happened, and I'd
appreciate that. Thank you, Striker.
Okay, so from 2022 when Furia Big and Heroic entered the Louvre agreement,
thank you.
They were supposed to pay out, I mean, 20 million combined was the amount that they were supposed to pay for the membership in the Louvre agreement. This, like, I mean, there was a reference in them leaving the Louvre agreement that they don't have to pay any membership fees any longer. And I think people necessarily didn't understand that this was in reference to some of the installments from Heroic not being fully paid from the 2022, like from them joining the Louvre agreement in 2022. I don't think their membership was fully paid out. Those however many millions it was out of the 20 that was for the 3 organizations, you know. And so basically, how I see it is them saying, okay, you're not going to get any fees from tournaments back, but you also don't have to pay the rest of the membership, you know, which I'm assuming was supposed to be for more than the 2 years that it ended up being, because of from 2025, you know, this agreement is effectively going to be dead because of Valve, you know, because of them coming in a little bit late. It's possible that, you know, that was kind of the deal that was struck, that, okay, like, in return for us not having to pay you membership fees, you're just going to leave the agreement altogether. You don't have to pay the rest of the installments, however much money that was. I don't know. I don't have the information on that. But effectively, what this means, like, it doesn't actually mean that much on the whole. I feel like people were reading a little bit too much into it. They're like, okay, Heroic doesn't have money or whatever like that. That's why they're leaving the Louvre agreement. Effectively, they're keeping all the spots that they've gotten already. So both Pro Leagues and Chengdu, I think, was the other tournament that they got a partnership slot in. And they're going to keep both of those or all 3 of those spots.
You have to qualify
regardless.
For Cologne anyway.
They have to qualify for Cologne. That would have been the case for any partner. And the only tournament that is left in the year that hasn't been decided in terms of partnership slots is IEM Fall. So that's the only tournament that this legitimately affects in terms of, like, the competitive side of this and, like, what they're missing out on. They're missing out on possibly applying for a partnership slot that IEM Fall, and they can still qualify for that or have enough, like, high enough ranking, points, you know, to be able to be directly invited anyway, you know. So I feel like it's kind of like, whatever. Nobody should necessarily care. The deal's going to be dead from next year either way. Nobody's going to have any partnership slots, and it really affects one tournament. So kind of who cares? Basically, that's the short story.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Striker. I appreciate you giving us a bit of a rundown there, because otherwise I just saw it and I was like, well, this is a bit odd. Okay, cool. Boys, let's jump into talking about the RMRs, because we've rounded up now Asia and America. So that's all the RMRs, all the teams qualified for the major. And we'll kick off with our Vox Pop. So we'll get Lucas to bring that one up when he has a moment. But this week's Vox Pop, basically, we are going to go continuing Hate Week. I think it's something that Launges has really been on top of.
I feel about that, by the way. It's like there's a lot of negativity going on.
Yeah, there is a lot of negativity going on. And the question that we posed to everybody this week over the social medias, Instagram and Twitter, for the Vox Pop brought to you by 22Bet is, what is the biggest failure of the RMRs? The 4 teams that we put up as the options were Liquid, Astralis, Falcons, and Greyhound. So with that in mind, Frozen, which one would you have voted for? Would you have voted for Liquid, Falcons, Astralis, or Greyhound being the biggest failure of the RMRs?
Damn hard to pick one.
They're all pretty disappointing.
Yeah. I think disappointed for Dexter, you know. So I guess I would pick him in this sense. For the Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I think. I mean, it's a heartbreak for everyone, right? Every CS player wants to make a major. I think it really depends how you look at it.
Well, which one were you most surprised to see not qualify?
I think. I guess Astralis, I would have to say, probably.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's reveal the results of what the people at home have voted for, because I think you're exactly in line with what most people at home.
So I was going to say one of these is not like the others.
Yeah, 46% of people voted for Astralis. 31% of people voted for Liquid. 21% voted for Falcons. Only 2% voted for Greyhound. That's across Twitter and Instagram. So thank you everybody for getting involved.
I was going to say, I like how we got the distinction of like what's coming from Twitter, from Instagram. We always made these. It's actually kind of fairly split, like same like difference.
Pretty damn reasonable for sure. So with this in mind, Prof, you see this is what the people voted for. Frozen said, do you still fall in line with this? Do you not think Liquid not qualifying considering how weak the field was?
This was the hardest Vox Pop ever for me, honestly. I didn't know who to vote for because I think Greyhound is super disappointing, realistically, considering the opposition that they have to beat, and like I don't want to say the resources, not like Greyhound has great resources, but these players have been playing overseas for the last 3 years, literally every tournament that they could, like every Katowice, Cologne, RMR major, they're always there. And Dexter, like a shit ton of experience coming from MOUZ and Fnatic, and coming together that they can't play better than they did. I think that's super disappointing, honestly. But then you can say Astralis, but they also played pretty good teams overall. Like they lost to Spirit, they were pretty close. Like the level wasn't super trash, but at the same time, the nine Pandas one was the one that stings the most, right? If they could have scraped by the last chance qualifier and things would be fine. I think Falcons were like pretty shit realistically. And then in a way, Liquid, considering that they're playing in NA, they have to make it. But then again, they play Furia and Complexity, which are kind of, I think it has to be between Astralis, between Astralis and Liquid for me, but I can't really put my finger on it. I think almost Liquid for me is the bigger disappointment.
That'll be the second one, I think, yeah.
What about you, Striker?
I mean, I'm going to be myself on this, and I'm going to take it absolutely
I would want it that way.
To the word, and which is biggest failure. And I feel like from that point of view, Greyhound, like, okay, there were like 4 different teams in Asia that were realistically could have made it. Like we went into the Asian RMR knowing that it was going to be between four teams, and so I feel like that's not a biggest surprise. But I think going into the Asia RMR, we kind of knew that was a very big possibility that Greyhound would have not made it. Liquid, I think, to call it a failure for them to lose to Furia and Complexity, I feel like is kind of far-fetched, because realistically, like one of them was a best of 1, the other one was like a best of 3 against the best team in the region as far as we know at the moment. So I feel like it's hard to judge them too harshly for just losing to the 2 other best teams in the region effectively.
It does show that their online woes, though, weren't just online woes.
Bro, I think that is the biggest thing, because like if you also consider the fact that they have been together the longest out of these 3 teams, at least like the actual lineups that were together, because Astralis only got actually no, Astralis might have been longer, right? Compared to this Liquid, because Liquid started practicing kind of late last year. And Abby and Stown also Abby and Stown also came in kind of around the same time. So I'm actually wrong in that. But obviously Liquid have had like enough time for us to think like, okay, they should be at a decent enough level even for a new team, right? So they should have made it through. But then they played the 2 hardest teams that were at the RMR not to make it, So it's really hard to judge them too harshly, regardless of them having some problems beforehand, So it's kind of between Falcons
for you.
So that's between Falcons and Astralis for me, and I feel like it has to be Astralis just through not just the 9 Pandas lost it, but like how they lost it also.
They looked dead inside.
They looked horrible. Yeah. Everything from around the tournament just looked bad, and I like from the messaging from Device and all this stuff, like anything you look at from Astralis, like, and this was a massive failure. And like for them internally, for the organization, for the players, like how bad this is, like from every conceivable angle, like it is Astralis. Because Falcons, again, a new team, they fucked up against Umcall, that's also a really bad loss that they shouldn't have lost, but it still is a new team, and we knew that this might not be the lineup that they will continue with in the future anyway. So I feel like it's kind of, they get not a pass, but at least I understand it. with Astralis, you don't understand it. This is not supposed to happen.
It doesn't make as much sense.
It should never have happened.
Sure. Okay, let's I want to do something here because that was the Vox poll. That's everyone's opinion on that. And we will pivot into a bit of format talk, Frozen. So if you need to go to the bathroom or something, I'm probably going to do the same thing when Striker starts going in on the format, but he will get there. What I want to do, Lucas, am I able to share my screen? Is that okay? Yeah, I just wanted to double check with you that it's okay. So this is something we did at the start of the year.
I actually wanted to reference this, so great job.
So just so you're aware, Frozen, at the start of the year, we did this little like time capsule where we made some predictions for how we felt things were going to unfold for the major and some other milestones. So I just wanted to check in on this because the first thing that we discussed was teams not making the major. So now that the RMRs have come to their conclusion, we can check everybody's homework and we can see who was right and who was wrong. Now, Prof, you said Gamer Legion wouldn't make the major, and you were correct.
Barely, but I was.
You were correct. Now, you happy with that? You're gonna get a big tick for that. I haven't prepared a tick, but
no problem.
There will be a tick for this at some point. So you've done well there. As you look down the line, are you still confident in some of your other answers?
Not as much about Vitality, but I think it's still a fair. I'm not too disappointed. I think team to make roster change Cloud9 will still happen. Will happen before the break.
Okay. All right. We'll go into Striker. Striker, you said Heroic wouldn't make the major. They made the major. What do you have to say for yourself?
What did we made this all the way at the start of the year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm absolutely wrong. And actually, like they looked better than I expected this
me
fast,
too.
to be honest. Like they did not. I did not expect them to get it together so fast.
Yep.
So do you think that means Kixan better IGL than Cadian? Or saw better codes than Zeus?
I wanted to judge things by results, so I feel like I can't argue here.
Yeah, right.
I think you must be right.
What about your other answers? You've got Donk as the major MVP, you've got Vitality winning, G2 making roster changes.
I think the G2 roster change is still coming at some point this year.
Okay.
I still think so. I think this is kind of like, regardless of them actually looking better than maybe first thought with Nexa, I think this is still not the team that they'll continue with like beyond 2024. I think the major MVP, man, and major winner, like this is like shaping up so well for me at the moment because everybody was like, oh, how the fuck would Dog take away the MVP from ZywOo?
And now we've had Kato,
if he loses, and now we've had Kato, and we see exactly like, imagine Dong goes like not like Kato level, because if he goes Kato level, he's just gonna win the major. There's no way he does it. But let's say he just does half of that, and then they just lose to ZywOo in the final. Like this could legitimately happen now.
Could happen. Now, Frozen, you'll be happiest with my homework. So don't worry about the first bit. So I was right on both accounts. I'll take 2 big fat fucking green ticks. NRG and Greyhound both not making the major. But what you'll be happy with, Frozen, is I've said Rops is going to be the major MVP, and you guys are going to win the major. So I've kind of I've hedged my bets on FaZe here. So you've got you got 2 and a bit weeks to get ready to win. Carrigan's in chat right now, so if you guys could we can end the show so you guys can go practice. Is that going to work?
Book it up. I'll be there at 5.
Oh shit!
I have something to add, Chad. Though.
Yes,
I think you said 2 ticks. You need to get 3 ticks for the first one because NRG didn't make the major twice.
That's true.
They first lost in the qualifier. Apparently to cheaters, it seems like, but it doesn't matter. We can ignore that for a bit. Then they got re-invited because these guys didn't make it, and then got smashed on the RMR again.
See, someone said to me, if you cheated Sponge putting NRG when they weren't even supposed to be on the RMR. We did this at the start of the year before the RMRs even started. So, that's why Prof said I was doubly correct. All right, let me stop sharing my screen right now.
Even qualifiers for the RMRs, to be clear, yeah.
It was well and truly in advance. I fucking saw that thing coming from a mile away. Okay. So we've covered that off.
It wasn't the most riskiest of predictions either way.
Come on, man. The Greyhound one was a fair crack. They've been gatekeeping for a while.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay, I need to quickly run to the bathroom, but what I want to do is I want to start. No, seriously, I do. I need to take a piss. I want to get the conversation started about Liquid not being at the major. Now, this is where Frozen. How into formats are you?
How into formats?
Do you like formats? Do you think about the formats? Because we've had Flusher on the show before, and he's like, I just play the game. I don't even know what the formats are.
Yeah, I mean, I think most just focus on the games, obviously some formats are better than the other ones. But yeah, I mean, I think as a player, you're just focusing on what's controllable. I think I would say.
Okay.
And sadly, format is out of our control, you know. So yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, Striker, I know that, and I do want to hear what you have to say, but I do need to quickly run to the bathroom. So start talking right now about, and also Liquid can be bad and the format can be bad at the same time. I like that tweet you retweeted.
Who said that?
He retweeted it.
It's
Faust.
There was the Finnish guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I like that take. Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, this is fuck, man. Like, I think it's over for this format. I mean, I think it's gonna be either way. This is the wrong side of the fire, Lucas. You set a chair on fire. No, I mean, look, we've had problems with kind of like how the seeding worked in majors before, but I think maybe this is the worst example that we've seen so far, just because of how this literally made it impossible. Like this, America's Armor literally made it impossible for a top 5 perceived team to make it, regardless of what else happened at the tournament. Like, okay, nothing was in anybody's control. Okay, no big upsets happened. Like, okay, Furia and Complexity went into the second, or like all 3 teams went into the second round. Liquid plays Furia first, and then Complexity plays Furia in the 2-0. And it's like, and then Liquid play Furia. So literally, like, you have 3 perceived top 5 teams, and they all met each other in a way where 2 losses eliminate you, which means it was literally impossible for one of them to make it through. For one of Complexity or Liquid to make it through, even though they were a top 5 seeded, they should have been a top 5 seeded team going into the major. And I think the fact that like Valve come out with the ranking after the fact, and they are literally number 4 on the ranking, almost number 3. It's like 1 point behind MIBR or some shit. And even then, and you can tell that this is mainly from the qualifiers, mainly from Blast. So like this was a ranking that they probably would have gotten either way before the RMR, and if they wouldn't get like this top 4, it would have been like top 6, 7 at worst, like at the Americas, you know. So definitely not top 15 or whatever their seed. 15th was their seed at the RMR, you know. So like when a format fails you to a level where a team that was meant to be seeded in the top 5 and you made it literally impossible for them to qualify from the top 5, that should tell you everything you need to know about the failure of the system. Because before, at least, like with everybody was blaming Buchholz for things, and like always it was down to either some upsets. You know, sometimes we'll get it wrong, like but most of the time you can track it down to some failed seeding beforehand. You know, you can always track it down to some matchup that wasn't supposed to happen, which by the way kind of happened in this case as well. But that was down to original seeding, nothing else, not Buchholz, right? So, and you can track it down to some sort of an upset. At least there's some excuse usually. This time there wasn't. There was no upset. There was just the 3 best teams met each other too many times. That shouldn't have happened.
I mean, it's it's so broken. It's such a bad format to start. Like to use Swiss to find 5 teams is not what it's meant to do. Like it's either you play out the whole thing to have the top 8 teams, or you don't use Swiss. It doesn't. The seeding isn't the way the matchups are made based on the seeding is not to find 5 teams. So that's also, even if the seeding was better, even if fucking Liquid was 4 or 5, I think it kind of, the way it sets up matchups is to not to be used for fucking 3 games to decide things, and for you to go out and like, you know, people say like, oh, you lose 1 best of 1 and 1 best of 3 and you're out. I don't think that angle doesn't make any sense to me. So you lost 2 games and you're out. Okay, yeah, that's how tournaments usually work. Like the majors were best of 1 into best of 3 for years. You know, that's not the problem.
Best of 1 into best of 1s.
Yes, like
at some point,
you can expand the first thing to be best of 3 as well. That's like, there are so many updates and changes to this that should have been used, right? It's just using a format for something that's not meant to be used for. Someone actually made a comment in chat at the beginning. He said like, Swiss is great, but Valve managed to find uses for it that are not the way it's supposed to be used, and that's kind of true. I think if you look at the European RMRs, I think that worked pretty well overall. I don't think you can blame too much on anything except, again, the seeding being fucked and Falcons and Heroic being like super low seeded when they shouldn't be. And of course, that's going to introduce weird matchups. But other than that, you still have 3 games to play, and overall, it's not that bad. But this should have been a double elimination format or a full Swiss into like a single elimination to find from the 8 the 5 best teams, or some shit like that. But this is not the way it should be done. And we complained about this before again, and whatever. I don't know. This is the
thing, Prof. I'm getting so jaded by it. It's like all I feel like is we complain about the same things over and over again.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
but then people only realize it when it's like
when it's
Liquid
happening
against Complexity, right? But when it's the same perceived strength teams, but they're not as big names, then no one fucking cares.
It has to hit the fan to actually, spark the...
It has to be like the worst possible scenario, which this is realistically.
Yeah.
And people can say like, oh, well, Liquid should have played better. They should have played better. They played kind of like shit. And realistically, what Cadian said is like, if we lose to Furia and Complexity, we're not going to do a lot on the major, which is technically true. Also technically true is that they have 2 weeks to improve and they could be better. And the ceiling of these players is pretty high, so they could do a lot more. But they don't even need to be better than Furia and Complexity to qualify for the major. Yeah. Because there's other teams that qualified for the major that we don't know, but most likely worse than Liquid. But Liquid didn't get a chance to play against them, and they just played against each other and qualified. It doesn't really make any sense that some teams play exclusively against like top 50 teams and have a major slot, while these teams play like the top 10 teams, 2 top 10 teams.
Yeah, 2 top 10 even, yeah.
Now, look, we could bang on about this format stuff forever, but this is what I said in Discord before I don't want to ostracize Frozen from the conversation, gentlemen, and we should just do a little special later down the track where we can return to this stuff and bang on it again. I think.
Can I just interject for one moment?
Yes.
Let's say you're playing devil's advocate. Why the fuck would Valve not do it? Why the fuck would Valve not update the ranking? I've been racking my brain about this. Like, is there a legitimate reason why they wouldn't do it?
Someone for Getty.
Legitimate reason why they did it on purpose.
No idea. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm here to play the game.
yeah. I can't think of a reason, Striker.
I've seen some people make like weird arguments, like such as that, like it's because like the invites went out or like whatever, so they had to lock the seating. And I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, first of all, like the invites didn't come out and they locked the seating. Like, there were teams qualified after the teams got invited, so like teams came in way after that, and there was still time to update it even after the open qualifiers, which still didn't happen. Even after the open qualifiers, it didn't happen. They just used like literally like as if Liquid did not play a single thing, which was the case like when the last ranking was released, that they released. So like none of like it doesn't like it literally looks like
let's ask him at the major. Let's say, boys, what the
that's
fuck
what
are you
I was talking to Prof. They always have like a room there or something, or like a skybox or whatever that you can go and talk to them. That's
we'll find
the first question I will ask them. Why the fuck didn't you update the ranking in time for the RMRs? Like, I understand that, okay, they couldn't do Katowice in time, like because it was literally 2 days before the second RMR took the first RMR took place. I would still do it for Americas just because there's like a week in between or whatever. Like, there's still space for teams to prepare for the opponent and whatever like that. I understand if you don't do it for the first RMR, doesn't necessarily mean that the second RMR has to be the exact same. Like, it's a different competition. It is the same like cycle, but you're going to reseed teams. You reseeded teams into the major. So why wouldn't you like reseed between different RMRs and between tournaments? So from all these perspectives, like I cannot make an excuse for Valve. I really tried. And I'm not even a Valve shill. I'm just
shut up, you Valve shill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to make sense of it, where it's not just that they fucked up. I just don't understand.
We'll never know the answer.
We'll ask him in Copenhagen. All right, Frozen, were you watching the Americas RMRs at all?
Yeah, I was a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Was there any teams that you actually thought, wow, these guys are actually going to be some competition coming around the major, or was everybody seeming a bit,
I think Furia looks good, no?
Wow, okay. What are we measuring that against?
Yeah, looks good. I think I want Furia to be, consistent playoff team finally again. So it's good that they made it through kind of smoothly, I would say. I think there is actually a lot more Brazilian teams that went under the radar at the Americans RMR, I would say. So yeah, I think there's gonna be more teams that can deal damage. Me personally, I'm happy to see Furia doing I mean, as I said before, good. I don't know how you want to measure it. I'm happy they went smoothly to the major, and I'm just looking forward how they gonna do there.
Yeah, because look, so just for the people who are playing at home, Furia, Imperial, Complexity, Legacy, and Pain are the 5 teams who qualified from the Americas region. Missing out was Liquid, M80, Odic, MIBR. MIBR surprised me that they missed out. Red Canids, Wildcard, Boss, Elevate, Nouns, NIG, and Bastia. Now,
just remember the Warden incident.
Oh yeah, they're throwing water on Malbs after they lost. You ever had a coach throw water on you before, Frozen, after a game?
No, but it was funny to read that thing actually. I don't know how did that happen.
Did we get any reports? I'm looking at the 2 journalist individuals. Any reports of? I know there was a lot of shit talk throughout the game, but was there anything said specifically that caused? Because Warden did make a tweet apologizing for this.
Yeah.
But it's already happened.
I know
so.
it didn't say in the rule book that you cannot throw water.
Hey.
It didn't say. I know it didn't say it.
He's
You
found a loophole.
checked the rule book, or?
So
Yeah, shit.
I don't know what was said. There was I don't know, something was said from, I don't know what of this was said or not, but from our people who are on the ground was something from Malbs to the team. So I don't know what was said or what instigated this kind of a reaction. But to throw water, just if you get shit talked after the game, I mean, it's look. To
after the game's over, you shake hands.
I was gonna say shit talk kind of should stay in the game. You can stand up and scream at the other team while you're still playing, but after the game, things should be respectful. But then again, it's just words. Are you really gonna throw water at people just because they shout something?
It depends on what was said, right?
I mean, that depends. Yeah, I don't know. It could be something very.
I'm not
bad,
saying he should have thrown water. I'm just saying I don't know what was said to instigate the water throwing.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it was personal.
Exactly.
I just want to say Warden is 38. That's all I'm gonna add to
All
this.
right, fine.
And he's been around, and he's yeah.
Okay,
it's not like he's new to this.
Yeah, fair enough. That's okay. So just quickly with the teams, it's good to see Cold Zero back.
Yeah.
I want to say this though. This is why for me, when Frozen, you've said, oh, it's good to see Furia qualifying and getting through smoothly. The team they beat to get through was Complexity, right? In a best of 3, right? And Complexity haven't been looking good since the final in Sydney.
Actually thought the Liquid's gonna win against Complexity, to be for real.
Yeah, and then let's
talk about that. Let's talk about that. We need to talk about that game. We need to talk.
All right,
about
where do you want to start?
I don't know. I mean,
that game was something. That was something
messy as fuck.
Honestly, it was always going to be messy. It was always going to be a bit not the best Counter-Strike ever played because of the pressure. Teams know each other, at least Elige and some of these guys, so there's a lot on the line. I don't expect perfect Counter-Strike, but also the way it started, I think we can all say Liquid here are the favorites. They're the big dogs. Complexity are still the little brother syndrome, even though they're better.
You mean by
now.
namesake?
Yeah, maybe they're better now, but they still lose every time they play each other.
Because by Counter-Strike, I wouldn't have said Liquid were favorites. I would have said by namesake they were in terms of what. Yeah.
In terms of the stature of the players and everything.
Yeah.
And if you would expect if they have control of the game, that's when Complexity crumbles and they're oh fuck, they're losing again. And that's how it looked for the start of the Inferno game. It looked pretty shaky, but they actually managed to come back and fucking Elige. Yeah, he's just paying off so much for Complexity right now. And I think we talked about it last year. Definitely one of the biggest straight upgrades for a team. And actually, we can see it now making Complexity a relevant force internationally, which they're before just a good North American team.
They're still pretty mid, to be fair.
Yeah, but hey, now they're invited directly into the elimination stage of the major. You can't fault that too much. So. But also, Liquid played like shit. They are so that Anubis, the T side, completely disconnected. They're attacking both bomb sites at the same time. I don't know. It doesn't seem really like the meta to commit into a bomb site. I know you make pressure and stuff, maybe trade a kill, but you don't enter both bomb sites at the same time. I don't think that really makes sense. You only need one to win the round. So things are falling apart completely, and then. That Yakindar Arcadian round on Overpass where they just died.
Yeah.
That's that's just dog shit. Honestly, that's just super bad CS. That is, as I said, that's how Creation Stack loses on Face It. It's like you're playing this game, you're like making a comeback on CT side, like everything's going well, and then your A guys are just like so full of themselves, they're just gonna like take every duel.
Actually, if they won that round, they had I think they had good chances of actually coming back in that game.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it was obviously like these guys the economy was broken. They were in a shit position. Like, it would have been like shitty buys to end the half. And like they actually crawled back into their T side as well, because like 7-0, 8-0 even, and it ended up 8-4. So
kind of felt like the mood from Anubis kind of went over to, you know, a little bit of the start of the Orpas as well.
I think they also they just started with some weird semi buys. I don't know if you guys paid attention to this. They're describing it as like Virtus Pro-esque, where they're just like one guy has an AK, everyone's ecoing, and then like everyone has an AK and one guy has a Tech 9. Like KD is saving for the op. It's like, what is happening here? And then it was 7-0. They didn't really have a single normal round at that point.
Yeah. I mean, they did the same thing on CT side after that as well, like with that NAF M4, and they fucking clean sweep that round, basically, almost. Like, it was kind of like weird.
What do you make of them, Frozen? What do you make of Liquid?
I mean, they always have good players, right? I think it can be dangerous as well to have such a high caliber of the players.
Like, dangerous in a bad way?
Yeah, for sure, because I think, you know, it's tough to have too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes, you know. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of players with players with different visions, I would say. They have Yakindar on a very high impact roles, which requires certain, you know, like the game has to be played in his way as well. Then, you know, you need to make Twist comfortable as well at the same time. Then you have Nav, who I think over the last 2 years he has been taking some new roles. So I think, you know, like he's just filling the gaps now. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's just so much going on, I feel like, for them at the moment.
Do you think they can be successful with this team?
I guess. I mean, it's hard to say, right? I think on the paper it definitely looks good. But I think, I mean, there has been some good teams already that has fallen, you know, same way.
How much damage do you think like a loss like this early on, and especially considering it has been pretty rough in a lot of the matches they've played? It hasn't been easy. Even in online North American Counter-Strike, it's been hard. So how much damage do you think a loss like this early on in a team's development does?
I think it does probably a good amount of damage, but at the same time, I think the damage is gonna make you better long term, because, you know, if this is not gonna split them apart, then, you know, they will just get it better. They will just get better at the end of the day. Like, there's no around it. They have good players, and yeah, a rough loss like this is something that you need to use as a fuel. I don't think there is other way around, you know. They all, I mean, obviously it's a disappointment for all of them. So yeah, I mean, they just all want to get better, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we're here now, so I want to ask this question now. We don't have to pivot into this in this moment, but I want to ask this question while we're down this train of thought. They have to play Blast Showdown, which starts tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have to play in 2 days. I think they're playing on Wednesday or on Thursday soon. Rather. Yeah.
Are they flying now? They're flying to Europe now.
They must be.
Yeah. So if you were to make a bold prediction, if you were to try and like look into the future,
for Showdown?
Yeah. Do you think that they will be broken, or do you think they will be, their first game is against Saw, and if they win that match, they play the winner of Cloud9 versus Rare Atom?
I think Saw is on fire now, coming from RMR as well. I think we unpracked them today.
Oh, really? The confidence is flowing.
Yeah, I mean, even at RMR, just looking at they were the team to go from 0-2 to 3-2, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And like in a way where nobody, like, they just fucking destroyed everybody in their
exactly
path.
Right. And it wasn't like they had easy path, which shows that, you know, they can definitely play. And yeah, I mean, you know, if you are at the position that Liquid is in now, you know, maybe a little bit broken, Sao could be a team to step on their neck, but I think Liquid now will just be really hungry to, since they missed out on a major, they really need to grind out all the other tournaments. So having qualifying from the showdown is something they, in my opinion, will like to do.
Yeah.
So I think they will really want to beat anyone they will meet. Me personally, I don't care about Liquid at showdown. I'm looking forward to big, JDC coming back. So yeah,
they've been struggling a little bit as well. Big, they've had some mixed results since this roster's been playing. So we'll have to wait and see how they start to shape up.
Yeah.
They're on Spirit side though, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. This bracket, we can essentially break it up into two halves because there's 2 spots available. So that's where this kind of gets a bit interesting.
Bro, it's so rough for this Elevate team. I don't know how good they are or whatever, but they fly over to Europe and then they're just going to get donked.
I think a lot of people are probably happy for that. They have a pretty bad rap in North America, a bunch of those players.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the most liked individuals. What I would like to do is if we can talk a bit more about the America side of things, but what I would like to do is, I don't know if we can use this graphic, Lucas. This is made by a gentleman on Reddit. The brainy poll is to do with the opening matches of the opening stage. Now, this isn't official in the sense that it hasn't been officially put out there from PGL, the opening matches, I don't believe. But that calculator,
I mean, the seating should work out the seating should work out based on the current Valve
really
ranking, so it
quality.
should work out.
Okay, would I be spreading fake news if we showed this?
I haven't checked this, so I can't tell you. I would have to check one by one.
All right, we'll leave it for now.
Right.
We'll leave it for now because we'll talk more about it, but we can at least talk about the teams that have qualified, right? So for the opening stage
Not
teams,
that bad quality. What the fuck? Anyway,
I don't know. Maybe you can't show it. It doesn't matter. The opening stage teams are Cloud9, Eternal Fire, ENCE, Apex, Heroic, Nine Pandas, Saw, Ecstatic, Amcal, Koi, Furia, Imperial, Pain, Legacy, the Mongols, and Linvision. And the elimination stage teams, FaZe, Spirit, Vitality, Mouse, Virtus Pro, Na'Vi, G2, Complexity. Everything seems kind of right with that.
I saw Nell's tweet. I thought it was kind of funny when he just took a screenshot of all of the teams in the opening stage, and it said it looks like a CCT.
It's pretty weak. It is pretty weak, the opening stage.
And it kind of does, but realistically, it does look like that because the seeding actually works. The seeding actually makes sense. So all the best teams are in the second stage, and that looks pretty stacked. The first stage doesn't look that great, and especially because teams like Liquid and Astralis didn't qualify, and names like some of the big names historically, NIP, Fnatic, OG, Big, Gamer Legion are like teams. Monty, the teams that we kind of know of now, either had a bad tournament or just bad. So when you look at the team list, it looks kind of mid, but those are the teams that, for the most part, deserve to be there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so looking at that list, people can find it on HLTV if they want to check out those names, so that they can take a little bit of a look. And if you wanted to check out the matchups that I said, the brainy poll, it's on Reddit right now. I think it's the top post at the moment to do with the opening matchups that are there. Again, I don't know how official this is. Take it with a grain of salt. But there's some interesting opening matches there. Frozen, what are your general thoughts with heading into this major CS2? Also, there's a lot more Inferno played in the Americas. Where's your head at the moment going into all of this? Is there a clear favorite? You think anybody can win out of the top teams? What's the general vibe?
I think there is probably few favorites that can lift the trophy. Hard to say. I mean, for now I'm just focusing on us. As I said, we finally have some time to actually sit down and work on things, add new stuff, and fix mistakes. So yeah, I mean, focus for now is just to improve for the major. We did so far 2 out of 2 finals, I think, but I think we all want to take the next step and finally lift the trophy. So I think for now it's just the focus is to get better. But I mean, yeah, as I said, there's probably a lot of contenders now coming that have a good potential. Vitality as well. I mean, they didn't do good at Katowice, right? So they'll probably be coming very hungry for the major coming there.
Defending champs as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's blast through this. Let's let's do the showdown. Let's predict, and we'll use Frozen to kind of lead the conversation here because he knows these teams a whole lot better than we do. I'm shooting from practice, as we just heard about the Source situation. So, Lucas, can you bring this one up? And we'll just run through the matches and we'll just do a bit of a simulation of who we think is going to win which games. So I'll start reading this out. So as I mentioned, there's essentially 2 brackets here. So even though it is 16 teams, you can just break it up into 2 brackets of 8 because you just need to win the semi-final. That's essentially the final that will book you a ticket to the Blast Spring Finals in London. So Complexity versus OG. Frozen, who you got?
Complexity OG. I think Complexity is gonna win that one.
All right, now Prof and Striker, if there's anything he says you got a massive objection to, or we want to play devil's advocate, or we want to ask some questions about it, feel free. All right, otherwise we'll just.
Do you want me to like give reasoning or?
If you want, that'd be great.
I mean, Complexity OG. I think.
I think that one is pretty
teams,
straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, that's straightforward. I think both teams are struggling, but I think OG is struggling a little bit more. So yeah, I think Complexity is gonna take this one.
Okay. Heroic NIP? I don't know if that one even needs explaining.
I think, yeah. I mean, yeah.
If you can answer
what
who's
is this
on
NIP?
NIP,
What is this? I was about to say, what is
if
this
you can
NIP
answer
lineup?
who's on NIP, you can pick them. But
Holy. What
It's like
the
Max
hell?
or Blue Phoenix and Silence is the other, and Alex and Russ.
Yeah, I mean,
should be a
Heroic
lineup.
is taking that one.
Liquid Saw you mentioned just before, but if you had to pick a winner.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one would be Liquid, but I think this is the game I wouldn't bet on. I think it can go probably either way,
Okay.
I'm actually curious what the odds are.
and it's as well an online game, no?
Yeah.
Odds are like 160 for Liquid and 220 for
Yeah.
Soft. So
How
not
is that possible though?
Yeah,
Like is it just name value that Liquid are getting?
What would you think Saw are favorites? They're never
I
gonna be.
Zora
favorites.
in
I don't say
major.
they're favorites, but I say Sao can definitely make damage.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty close. That's pretty close also by the odd makers, I would say.
Okay, so we got Complexity winning, Heroic winning. I need a choice here. If Frozen can't give us one, someone has to. Liquid or
what?
Saw?
Yeah, I think Liquid.
Liquid, okay. Cloud9, Rare Atom.
Yeah, Cloud9.
Yeah, okay, easy. Okay, and then we go
Spirit,
through.
okay.
We can finish
Spirit,
the.
how
you wanna
come
finish this bracket?
how come
Okay.
Spirit that don't have an opponent first round?
Ha ha.
Are you joking, or?
What?
The Spirit versus Elevate. Spirit win.
Yeah, so next round they play.
Game of Legion or Big.
Yeah, they play big then.
Okay. Monty Imperial. We don't even know what Monty's roster is going to be. Do we?
I mean, I literally just got an answer from Blast that like if Monty got an exemption or anything like that, just because they lost 2 players, they didn't. So it at least looks like Lean and LMBT will have to play.
Okay, so
Unless-
Imperial
unless-
win.
I mean,
they're gonna
Imperial looked good as well. I don't
Yeah.
know who they played, but yeah, I guess Imperial.
Okay, Falcons and Metas
Ooh.
Port. This would be an interesting one.
We didn't even speak about
Good one,
Simple.
actually.
Resident Swedish expert is excited about a Falcons bet this
Oh yeah,
sport.
true. Simple's gonna play actually.
Jacquinho, ZTR, Susp, Adam B, the Twins, and Nilo.
They
Yeah, I mean,
also
it's,
just extended their contract, so that usually means bad, right?
So they're
If you
safe.
extend-
They don't have to win.
What
is
do you
Prof's
think,
saying.
Frozen? After you extend your contract, do you play better or worse?
depends. If you extend the contract, you usually get more money. Then you're usually expected to perform better. If I'm getting more money and I don't perform better, then I feel like I don't deserve the money. So hard to say. Some people, they might start to chill a bit more after big money contract, but yeah.
Okay. Who we got winning that? Falcons? Simple's back in the server.
Good question. I mean, yeah, Simple is back, but this is a full online game, and bro, Metasports, I think where they gonna strive,
Okay.
Okay, we're picking Metis.
You picking the upset?
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm picking them, guys, but I say that they're again. If you would go for a bet, I think this is the one you wouldn't want to bet on because I think
Can be tricky, yeah.
it can be tricky. I think.
Also
Alright.
input lag for Simple. So.
Yeah, he's got a few irons plugged in, I heard.
Oh yeah, true.
He might have to go to a different location. All right. So overall, just from this bottom bracket, I think we'd all agree Spirit's going to win, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And the top bracket, who's going to win that?
That's a tough one. I mean,
Heroic?
I'd say Heroic, yeah.
Heroic or Cloud9?
Yeah.
I think Cloud9 have
That's-
some confidence after their RMR.
Yeah.
It's gonna
But
be
I also
liquid.
feel like this is like the exact situation where you get baited into thinking Cloud9 are good now, and they're just gonna lose to Random or something. That's like what I feel like will happen. But
They
I don't think
they're
so.
not gonna lose to Rare.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. But
What is
it
Rare
would
at
be
the
a
lineup being
Cloud9 thing to do right now.
What is this lineup?
Isn't it like X Pro and Fozy and stuff? And
Yeah.
is that yeah?
Bro,
Corey, somebody and
Swedish-
Summer are still going. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I just have to say this completely random. So I was at the Svenska Cupen thing last
Of
year.
course he was.
Of
Oh,
course,
last
I
year.
was in Sweden, and there's an after party. So I went to the after party, and I went to the bathroom to take a piss. So I go to take a piss, and I see some guys like in the corner of the bathroom. I thought they were like doing something illegal. You know how people sometimes do in the bathroom, like they're
on
kind
the
of
slopes.
yeah. And I'm like, what's going on there? Weird. And then I realized they're not doing anything illegal. They're on a FaceTime call with a friend who's
In the
that friend.
bathroom.
They're on a FaceTime call with Fuzi. So
In the bathroom.
yeah. So then I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they had a little chat through FaceTime. I was also on the call for a bit. So that's just my fun
In the
story.
bathroom.
In the bath. And he was in China, of course, during this call.
Which would be 7 hours ahead of Sweden.
Yeah. And this would like, yeah, it would be probably morning for him.
Okay, hell, in the
This is-
bathroom.
This
All right. Look, gentlemen, we have run over by 23 minutes. So we'll probably run over by about another 7 more because we're going to close the show down. Frozen, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Is there any topics that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about before we say goodbye?
Me? I'm good, guys.
You sure?
I just came to chill with you guys. Yeah, of course.
All right. I did just quickly rifle through some of the questions that people had for you on Twitter. Most of them, I feel that we covered off because people are asking questions about, like the difference between Mouse and FaZe or how the, current FaZe feels compared to the old. We touched on a lot of those different things there. One person would like to know, do you prefer pancakes or waffles for breakfast?
My girlfriend once told me that apparently waffles are for breakfast and pancakes are for like lunch.
What? the
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also like, what the
As
fuck?
somebody who like makes pancakes a lot, I absolutely disagree with this.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I don't care if it's waffle or pancake. I think it honestly tastes the same. I think, like it's almost the same thing to me. So I think, to me, it's just sweet. I think, I'll just eat it.
Okay. All right. Happy
I'll
with
just
both.
tell you, by the way, I literally spent the last 10 minutes checking the seating and like what the matchups are going to be for the first round of the major, and I think that guy's right.
Yeah.
I came down to the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So
Look, normally-
you can say it at least, even if you don't want to show the picture, since that's
I'm going to leave it because
Okay.
we'll talk about it on next episode when we're closer
Fair
to the
enough.
major. That way we can talk about it all then. Okay. What other questions were there here? No, that one's inappropriate. Psychological HD says, asking if there's any teams at the challenger stage that could be dark horses. Any of those teams that we listed before in the opening stage that you think, well, he used challenger stage, motherfucker.
I was
In
about
the-
to say, well, the challenge stage.
Yeah, in the opening stage, is there any team there that sticks out to you as, oh shit, these guys could go deep, could make the playoffs? You can say no. You can say they all suck.
Eternal Fire. I
Eternal
don't know.
Fire.
Yeah, I guess.
That you had some good games against Eternal Fire.
Oh
Some
yeah,
close
I mean
matches.
they're pretty annoying to play. I think I would say.
Why are they annoying?
I know, just the playstyle. I think that, they can get really in your face. They as well, lately, I think they as well been doing good. So it's not like it's easy games against them. They have some good things going on in their game. So for sure, I mean, in this sense, I think it can be pretty annoying to play them because it's not as easy as you would think.
Yeah, no, they look pretty strat heavy and they
For
have
sure,
some good ideas.
for sure.
And some good, that Zentaras and Wakadia shoot really well.
They have good things going on for them.
Okay. All right, let's shut this show down. Frozen, is there anything that you want to say to the people at home? Got any message for anybody or, anybody you hate out there that you want to call out and fist fight or a 1v1 or someone who's been fucking you around and face it? Anything going on like that?
Nah, I've been just thank you guys for inviting me. I enjoyed. It's been fun. The people watching, hello. Thank you for watching as well. Appreciate the support. And yeah, love you guys.
Easy. That's a perfect way to leave this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been great. Great to pick your brain. Great to have a bit of a chit chat. And we'll see you at the major. A quick shout out to the sponsors, 22Bet. Remember to gamble responsibly, and TradeIt.gg. If you're in the marketplace for some skins, check them out. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of HLTV Confirmed. We'll be back next week on Wednesday, I believe it is. We'll get you some more details on that, and if we have a guest and all that good stuff. Thank you again, and good night.
Best esports odds, VIP program, and a variety of bonuses. Fast and easy withdrawals. Bet on every possible CSGO matching tournament, as well as any other esports game. Only on 22Bet.
Are you tired of your boring old skins? Head to TradeIt and trade them for exciting new ones within seconds. With 24/7 support, massive inventory, free giveaways, and low fees, TradeIt is the highest rated trading platform in the market. What are you waiting for? Start trading today for a $5 bonus, only on TradeIt.